And my god, I thought we were like two caterpies in a metapod. I hope the memories of me haunt her.
This is Kitten Features, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in a student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wayne in his white windowless van? Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. You're listening live on Sunday, the 19th of April, 2015, coming to you at 2 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. GMT. Welcome, everybody, to the show. We have a very special show today, as we're going to try something a little bit different, a little bit new, a little bit fancy, perhaps, with Show X, as we have our good friend Ken joining us, but not from his normal accommodations out there in Scotland in his little villa, but instead from a place we've talked about in the past, the Geek Retreat. Ken, how are you doing there?
I am well. This is very interesting, seeing myself from across the room and watching myself at that. How is the audio levels coming from the TV? Is that
I don't hear anything from the TV. I hear you, sir. So I think we're probably good.
Fantastic. Hey, that's great. Okay. Yes, everything's well. It's interesting to be streaming live from the Geek Retreat here in Glasgow, Scotland. People are looking around the room, all looking at me, saying, "What's going on? What's this?" I can now hear you coming through as well.
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, that's probably going to make it all kinds of what would I say, a bit of inception for you, if you will, or multiple me. That means you get to hear all of the Wayne today.
Indeed. So for those who don't know, the Geek Retreat is a comic book store and generally a Geek Retreat. And let me actually look online and see the online description here. A real world and online community dedicated to all aspects of geek culture, gamers, techies, sci-fi fans, and comic enthusiasts. An online source of articles, user-generated content, and vibrant discussion forum. You can also visit our comic book and coffee shops, meet fellow geeks, and attend any of our events, one of which is going on right now here in Glasgow, Scotland. So this is our first ever live event. We've never done this before in the sense of actually attending somewhere live and streaming from a con, an event, or a comic book store itself. So this is
I think
quite a special show.
Yeah, anything else I've done has usually been from a convention in my hotel room or something like that. It's kind of been off, not during regular hour type of setup or things like that. Because normally when we try to do this, everything breaks. And so hopefully today it'll be a little bit more so. Now we do say this, a caveat. Yes, everyone listening, you may get a bit of crackle and roboting from Ken's end of the world because he is on the Wi-Fi's in an underground lair there and sharing it amongst everyone else in the retreat. So with that, be aware that there may be little bits of crackles through our Skype connection, but we will manage and continue going forward with it. So please, feedback in the IRC is welcome, and know that in order to minimize our footprint, Ken is not playing on the video wall today, playing any other video games while doing the show, or...
I promise you, for once, I'm not playing Hearthstone during the show.
so we'll try to make it as clean as possible. But yes, feedback in the IRC is important, and I will be monitoring it. Anyhow, as we go forward and starting our week today, we are going to go ahead and start with a bit of
dysfunctional deviations.
And we will see how long this dysfunctional deviations go. It may be the entire show. But as we start off, I'm trying to think. Yes, because last week I wasn't here because I was out playing about, and so I can talk about that a little bit.
Oh, please do.
So last week I was out gallivanting along with our good friend Octail because it was time to send him out from the US of the A and instead to let him go on and be free in the world to go visit his wife, and not just visit this time, but actually stay with her out in Norway. So she's much closer to Ken is now. He made it in safely last I heard, and so everything's good with that. But in Vegas, I do have one story I want to bring up. There was a lot of good fun to be had, gambling, things like that, and I will save more detail to another time. The one thing I was going to bring up that was kind of my for the week is that, you know, we're in an environment today where we all do we do things with our phones all the time. We get very attached to the technology that we have. Well, I had a moment where running around and not even being involved with imbibing any alcohol, go figure, in Vegas, but starting one of our mornings, traveling from one area to the next, we were all slammed into a cab together, and in getting out of it, I had done the nice thing, getting to the very back of the cab, so it's everyone else is a little bigger than me, easier for them to get in. I climbed over things. Well, getting out, my phone, my iPhone 6 Plus, fell out of my pocket in the cab as I got out, and we went in to go start our day, and the cab drove off without it. And so I had one of those moments of, oh God, what do I do when I lose this device that has all of my technology on it, all of my information, all of my stuff? Anyhow, long story short, I want to say I thank everyone involved, where I was very fortunate that I have my phone, and even though I left Las Vegas without it, it came back to me that very same day. And I want to do a big shout out to my good buddy Aaron for picking it up for me from the cab company when they retrieved it. And I did the smart thing, which all of you should be aware, where I knew there's limited space on your phone you can see. And so I sent a text to it from my buddy's phone saying, when found, please text or call this number. And they did find it. They texted him, and he was able to, on his way to the airport, go pick it up and bring it back with him. So that was awesome. But that I do want to just at least mention that we sent Octal off safely, and he is now out in Europe to live on his days. And so that was a big thing for me. I'm going to limit this so that we can get some time to everyone else out there, but say, Ken, what have you been doing this last week as you're getting ready for the Geek Retreat here?
Sure. Yes, it's a vibrant experience here. So my past week's been, it's like a countdown right now, going towards my PhD. And on the Friday coming is when I finish up work completely, and I go off into the land of academics. I've been doing some reading in my spare time, non-contractually, FYI. Any ears listening of my previous company, non-contractually, I'm doing some reading of my own personal interest into future subjects. And I gotta say, it's interesting to have to learn again. It's been a while since I've had to do that. It feels like I'm trying to ride a bicycle for the first time in 10 years, you know? It's a bit of a strange experience, but each day's been a bit of a countdown, looking forward to my next major inlet in life, the next major goal in life. Next avenue, and I'm looking forward to moving through to a different town, different living experience, different events. You know, it's going to be absolutely crazy. So I've got a lot of stuff going on in the next few weeks. We've been just getting ready for all that stuff. You know, it's a big thing. We're even considering getting a dog at the moment as well, just to add on that little cherry on top of all the stress.
Because you need that right now, right? That's something.
I know, right? Shipping fortune chillos around Scotland, never mind everything else. That's the plan anyway. But other than that, this week's been rather uneventful, which is generally a good thing. I've been having lots of fun on Twitter, as I always do, discussing things that I shouldn't discuss in the public forum there, all the controversial issues. Been having a lot of fun with that. Being a lot of nice people, a lot of really smart people in that as well. So it's a very interesting experience. But it has been generally a good week, and I will also limit myself for further stuff later on. Now, for our first interview, you don't actually have anybody lined up per se. We've got 5 people who are on a list. They are the dedicated few who will be joining us today. We don't have it down as to who will be going on first, when, and what order and the likes. So I think I'm going to eventually just go and approach somebody and say, hey, do you want to come on the show?
Well, and you do have a list, so if nothing else, you can reach out and just say, hey, where is so-and-so?
That's true.
Should we do it like
should we do it like a knockout contest kind of thing? Like roll the dice.
On?
Yeah. We could roll the dice and see who wants to come on first. Now, the one name I do recognize on here, is someone I've already met, is Mr. Dominic Kelly. If he can hear me. Oh, Dominic. Is that not Dominic? No, it's not Dominic.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't help. I've only met one of the people. We're going to be having a few interviewees on here shortly. How about I go and fetch somebody just now? Do you want to hold the bunker for a second, Mr. Wayne?
I can do what I can, and you can start doing, because As much as, go ahead, Ken. You wrangle someone down if you want to talk about who you want to get on what order. As Copy is talking in the IRC here about being the only one here, as you see, gentlemen in the background in the Geek Retreat, know that there is at least one woman in there, because the gal that either owner or someone who's helping set everything up there, I did see on camera before the show. So be aware that it's not the only thing. Also, if you are not, this would be a great opportunity for you to come in there and watch the show today on our YouTube link. Go to the VTW show link, the Versus the World channel on YouTube, and check it out. If you haven't already seen the link in the IRC, I will post it once again for everyone, and you should be able to jump in there. You can also watch us on our simulcast on Alpha Geek Radio. You can either go to www.alphageekvideo.com, or you can go to http, whatever your browser, player.alphageekmedia.com, and it'll take you right to a player where you can choose Video Channel 1, where we show up on Alpha Geek Video, and you can choose our chat, and you can jump in all right there with 1 bit. So that should be good fun, and this is a show you definitely want to be involved in, where you're actually watching what's happening and not just listening in. So jump into the video link so you can check it out. All right, it looks like we have people settling in for our first guest from the Geek Retreat on with us, Ken. Are we all set to go on your end?
Yes, we are ready. I would like to introduce Mr. Dominic Kelly. He has said that he is happy to be on air. So I looked through the crowd and I pinpointed him and I headhunted him and I found him and he's here. So we've got down here the topics of comics, movies, and games. So these are the 3 things that Mr. Dominic is willing to discuss. So first of all, before we jump into any of that stuff, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Okay, wait. There we go. We got to make sure the mic is getting both. So yeah.
Okay.
I'm Dominic Kelly. I'm a writer on the weekly website. I'm a special text artist for a weekly.
Oh really? Oh, that's cool.
And I've been reading comics, playing games, and watching movies since.
Someone could essentially just turn around.
Sure. So how long have you been a member of Geek Retreat?
Just over a year now. I've started out writing about the last year, and I eventually moved on to being a staff writer for the site, and I mostly do comics, but also talk about film and horror stuff as well, and sometimes animation.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, it's can't complain, you know.
So how did you first find Geek Retreat? Was it something that just called to you? Was it like a glowing symbol in the darkness?
What was it? I'd finished uni at the time. I was just walking by. I saw the wee alcove going down. I thought, I've never seen this before. May as well go in, and the rest is history, essentially.
Okay, well, this is a question I'm probably going to be asking everybody here as well. Would you call yourself a geek? Now, I know that the term geek is something that people often look down on. Some people look up to. Some people wish to be. Some aspire to. Some look down on us as like there's a mix of things, right? Personally, I think it's a powerful word, and I think it's trying to say I'm part of a. I love something, right?
Yeah.
I love doing something. I love reading something, and I love it to an extent that I'd call myself a geek.
Yeah.
I think it's effectively loving something, a hobby, so much that you're part of a society of it, effectively, right?
Absolutely.
So, be it comics, be it TV shows, etc. So, would you call yourself a geek?
I'd say, yeah, I'm passionate about the stuff I like. I would say, yeah, I would consider myself a geek.
Sure.
What was it? The stuff I do like, I like a lot. And, yeah, I would say.
Are you proud to be a geek then?
I would say, yeah, I've been a geek most of my life, so I doubt I'll be changing it anytime.
Embrace it.
You know, don't run from it.
So, are you from the Glasgow area?
I'm from the Glasgow area, yeah. I just live outside of town.
So, born and bred here?
Yep.
Okay. I'm from the opposite side of Scotland, and Mr. Wayne is from Colorado. In the US, he's waving. So, we are a little mixed around the world. So it's interesting that you decided to find Geek Retreat a home. So how often do you come here? Is it sort of thing that you come every day or
twice a week? I would say. I come in on Tuesdays for comic reviews. That's when the books come in, and it's
Okay, so are you interested in any of the events here?
what was it? I'm not much of a magic player. I'm not much of a Yu-Gi-Oh player, to be honest. The games I do play are mostly computer,
Sure.
to be honest. But be up for learning them, you know.
I suppose it's good experience to use that you can see
Definitely.
different hobbies that you're not used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Because
good seeing.
I know for one, I don't play any tabletop games. I've
Yeah.
tried Pathfinder, it's up there actually. I've tried it about 3 different times, and I just
Could get into it.
I tried GMing it. I tried
Aye.
being a player, and I just can't do it.
Aye.
I'm just not that kind of guy. But I always wanted to be, because I always like the idea of playing D&D and the
Yeah.
likes. But
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting to get a different perspective
Yeah,
here.
definitely.
So you said you're into video games, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite console of choice? Are you a console player or a PC player? First of
What
all?
was it? Mostly PC, but I have consoles.
Oh, there we go. You're in. There we go. PC player.
What was it? I'm mostly console based, but
Whoa,
I do.
whoa, whoa.
Oh, no. So,
You mean PC, right?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just so excited to be here. Yeah, mostly PC based. I've got consoles for like Bloodborne came out recently.
Oh, I understand that. That's a good game.
That was essentially okay. I need to get a I need to get a PS4 to play this.
Oh, yeah.
'cause I love the From Software games, so it's
Sure.
a bit no-brainer there. But I mostly stick to PC and whatnot.
So do you use like Steam? What's your favorite?
Steam.
What are you clocking at? Are you one of these guys with 1,000 games, 10 games?
Most of the time, it's I try not to be, but if it's like Fallout or something, it's like it's ludicrous. I was a clocked in Fallout, to be honest.
So what's your total game count at the moment? Do you think?
Oh, like games are.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that much, thankfully. Well,
So I think I'm around
Not
the
that
300 level. So
that sounds about right.
I was say, yeah, that's about where I'm at as well. Somewhere around that
Yeah.
300 level, at least on my Steam list.
It's those sales. It's just like, oh, I'm not going to buy it.
I know,
It's
right?
like, oh no.
Oh
okay.
god,
Mr.
yes.
Mr. Gaben, he pulls us all
Oh,
in.
I'm gonna get through this one. Oh, oh no. I'm
I'm the exact same. Humble bundle as well is what
Oh,
pulls me in. Yeah.
fading my existence there. Just
Yeah. So good thing that you're a video gamer, because that's what we are. Now we're less so about the comics. Like
Yeah.
we're all for them. But, like we personally.
Well,
don't
you
think
say
of-
that, Ken. I don't know. I'm an old school comic geek. I have to make the decision not to go to a comic book store, because since I don't do it regularly, when I do walk into a comic book store, my unfortunate thing is I find something that suddenly seems very interesting to me. Like, ooh, look at this new one. Oh, look, the new 52, and look, Harlequin has her own series now, and I love Harlequin. That's awesome. Let me go check that. Oh wait, there's already like 8 issues out, and I like this one. Well, then obviously I need to get all of them. And so,
So you leave with like hundreds
$300,
of dollars worth
well,
of
that's the thing.
merchandise.
$400 later, I now have enough comics to keep me satiated for a week or two.
yeah.
And then I feel like I need to start going back and back and back. And so I stop. I don't. Because I binge comic when I do it.
Sure.
I have to admit, I'm much the same.
Are
It's
you?
like, oh, I'm just gonna pick this up today. Oh, I didn't know that was out. I didn't know that was out. Oh no.
£250 later,
Oh,
the shop's
just-
empty and your hands are
How
not.
did I
Yeah.
get here? Just,
So what kind of pardon me, what kind of series are you into?
I'm mostly into like horror stuff, to be honest. I like. I don't know if you've heard of the comic Lock and Key.
No,
Oh,
not
yeah.
actually. Is that LOCKE?
Yes.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
heard
It's amazing. I also like Marvel stuff. I like DC stuff. I'm mostly in indie stuff, to be honest. I like Image Comics.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
They've got some amazing stuff right now.
That's interesting. I don't think many people are into the sort of indie comic scene. In fact, it's something I've not really heard much of myself.
Well, no, there's a ton of different publishing houses out there for comics outside of the big traditional ones, because your big ones are your DC, your Marvel. You can argue your Dark Horse, your Image Comics, things like that. But then you have
There's
this
more than
whole
DC and Marvel.
there's this whole group of comics that make very independent, smaller titles. Where it's just really good authors with interesting artwork doing their own things, and so you get some of these subgenres that are not. So you get the comics outside of Walking Dead that are still zombie comics and stuff like that, or different kind of hero comics that aren't your traditional capes and cowls. And so there's a ton of variety of comic books.
Yeah.
Another reason I have to stay out of comic book stores.
Once you're in, that's you. It's just closing in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it? I generally tend to stay to the indie houses. That's not to say that Marvel are putting out a lot of good stuff just now, so are DC, by all means, and I buy a lot of stuff from both of them, but from time to time. Image, like I said, are putting out some sensational work just now.
So, as with some of the first indie ones, then, are you particularly excited about all the new DC and Marvel films coming out very shortly?
Always excited for them. It's Avengers this week. Can't wait for.
I know. I'm going to buy tickets tomorrow. I think.
I'm the same, to be honest.
That is coming so soon.
I know. It's today it comes out, isn't it? Here. I think it was
And there's
today.
Ant-Man this year as well. It's like
Yeah.
there's a lot. It's a good time, I would say, for comic fans and movies.
It's a good thing. I think previously we had this sort of zombie phase where everyone
Yeah.
loved zombies. And before that, it was like detective films. Before that, was sci-fi.
Aye.
The current theme seems to be superheroes,
I'm just
where
waiting,
pretty much everybody is just spending their spare change on comic book films, and it's good for Marvel and DC right now. They are making.
They're laughing in the back.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
and not even just the movies, right? Because all the shows have been coming out where, because my personal opinion, being mostly a Marvel fan, is that is that Marvel's making the movies just to key. They've done such a good thing, and they have a vision about where they're going with the whole series that I cannot wait to see how the overall Avenger line works out.
Yeah.
And then we're brilliant about tying it in with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter and all the other stuff they've been doing on the television. But then DC, I've argued myself that their movies may be leaving more to be desired lately than others, but their television, I actually give them a lot of credit for. I think they've done a great job with Arrow, and while I haven't caught The Flash yet, I've heard good things. Yeah. But then Marvel, Marvel's latest, and I don't know how much you guys have gotten to see it yet, but Marvel, when they released with Netflix Daredevil.
Oh, amazing.
Because, yeah.
And I ended up marathoning it the first day. I'm like, oh, just watch one episode, see how it is. Then 13 episodes later, I'm like, oh no, I've just wasted 11 hours.
Oh, yes. Well, it was my...
I'm a big fan of the film so far. All of the general comic-themed films in the past few years, especially Avengers, man, I'm a big fan. And I gotta say, I'm really looking forward to Batman vs Superman. Oh, it's gonna be cool.
See, that's funny because as we talk, and this is gonna, I almost don't want to break this wall yet, but since we'll have other guests, we can ask them kind of the same opinion. But I don't know if I want to take it to that depth. Is that this weekend, where I was at our local convention for sci-fi, Starfest, which was really a great time. In fact, I'll be running back there right after the show to finish things out with people. But one of the things they were showing is the 501st, which is the big cosplay group and enthusiast group around Star Wars. They have their booth set up each year, and they have great costumes and everything. But they were showing out there, they had speakers set up where they were showing a bunch of clips and videos from Star Wars. Now, I'm making an assumption here, Dominic, that you may be a Star Wars fan. I don't know if you're more Trekkie Star Wars. It tends to be where it lands. What would you consider yourself?
Sorry, when we get a little bit of... not quite roboting, it's sort of blanking out here and there. I think it's actually my microphone compensating. It's trying to listen into the TV. So could you repeat that?
Well, so the question I have is, are you more of a Trekkie or more of a Star Wars fan, Dominic? See, you're muted, Ken. I lost your audio, Ken. So, unfortunately, Dominic, what's happened is, as we're doing this, and because he's using a Mac, that's, where Apple only does good with, desktop product, or with phone products. There you go. You're back. Not with actual computers, because they don't know how to make computers.
I've learned that if I mute the microphone, it is great because then we can hear you because it stops trying to listen. But then the Mac forgets that the microphone is attached.
Don't mute the mic. Just don't do that, Ken. Bad Ken.
I'll do it on Skype next time to see if that works.
Yeah, bad Ken.
Ken.
So, but back to what I was saying there.
He was asking, are you more of a Trekkie or...
I'm more of a Star Wars fan, despite valiant efforts by my dad, who is starting.
Oh, is your dad a geek?
Yes, yeah. I'm mostly a geek now because of my dad, to be honest.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Raised me on those kind of
good parenting. Good parenting.
Yeah, that's good parenting right there, yeah.
What was
No.
it? Star Wars, but yeah, I'm more of a Star Wars fan. That was kind of the first thing I saw. I remember seeing A New Hope when I was about 5 or 6, and that just blew my mind. It was like,
good.
wow.
Yeah, I was exactly saying that's how I got into Star Wars originally, yeah. That's
Well,
cool.
so I do have a kind of a random question with that, just because for me, over here, it was never a thing. But is there the same kind of discussion between Star Wars, Star Trek, and since it's over in the UK, does Doctor Who jump into that same category? Because for us, Doctor Who's a completely separate thing that people love, but it doesn't compete against other sci-fi.
I am personally not a fan. I can say I don't like Doctor Who.
Yeah, but Ken, you're only kind of a geek at times.
There have been situations where Doctor Who has jumped into the conversation. That's just with me personally. Like,
that's fair.
Hey, Doctor Who in here. It's like, okay.
But are you personally a fan?
I like Doctor Who as well.
You like Doctor Who?
It's mostly again thanks to my dad who got me hooked from a young age, and it just kind of went from there.
It just looks terrible to me. I don't know why. Every time I watch it, it looks like there's just a bunch of actors, and they just change the color of the backing lights, and that's their entire understanding.
So they only film on like 3 city blocks there, right? They only use like 3 city blocks to do every episode, so that's their set. Because you see the same apartment building like in every 3rd episode, but that's beside the point.
It's like, boy, our time travel should do like London.
I know.
And just, I can see what was that.
Okay, so my real question, as I was talking about Star Wars, then is I'm assuming people have seen the new trailer for the next Star Wars.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Because that was being shown at the convention, and people were losing their stuff for it, and I had my reactions when I saw it. So I'm kind of curious, Dominic, how did you feel about it?
Oh man, I couldn't process it. It was kind of like, oh my god, this is happening. We're getting a new Star Wars film from J.J. Abrams. How can you not get hyped for it?
Yeah, I know. I
really
saw this comic that was released about it, actually. It was this pessimistic sort of middle-aged guy, and it was him saying on his computer, like, oh, the new trailer's come out. I suppose I'll give it a watch, though I have very low expectations for it. The next panel is just him zoomed back to being a kid, like it's actually just a kid in his place, all giddy, stars above him. You know, I think that's kind of the feeling we all got. It was like, it's Disney now, I don't know what it's going to be like. And you put it on and you're like, wow, this is going to be impressive.
When Han Solo turned up with Chewbacca, I was like, oh my god,
that admittedly, tear, right? A tear kind of welled up, like, oh, but I heard the and the whole like, Chewie, we're home, and it was just like,
Definitely.
I don't know. It feels kind of cheesy to me that they did that as well. It's sort of like they're saying, hey, look, this really old actor now is in it, even though he probably is not going to be very effective in terms of a warrior anymore. As this renegade sort of guy.
Hey, Han was the man. Yeah,
he is all man.
You bite your tongue, Ken. Bite your tongue. Hey, when Harrison Ford gets injured because he's flying his own World War II era plane, you know, at his age of like 104, he is still a badass. So you just accept that, Ken. Yeah, and this is Indiana Jones you're talking about. So yes, he's still cool. So I do have a question coming in from the IRC for Dom, and this is specifically because of your hair, your headdress, essentially your hat, saying, do you have dreadlocks? There's a question from the audience about what you're hiding under the.
No, sadly not.
He's got your hair, but it's a bit shorter and less afro.
No, very good. Like I said, that's okay. That was inquiring minds on the internet were curious.
Well,
it's our chat room, so they're asking about that.
Sadly not. I'm sorry to disappoint.
No, that's outstanding. So
my final question for you, okay? What do you think of My Little Pony?
I'm not a fan personally.
Oh, look at you, Ken, trying to troll.
So I'm not trolling. I'm genuinely interested. So Mr. Wayne is a fan. We've got My Little Pony paraphernalia around us. And I was just curious if you.
I'm not a fan personally. I have to say. I'm not a fan personally. I respect people's right to like.
Of course.
It's of course. If you enjoy it, I don't see why you shouldn't.
I just personally don't understand the appeal is all, and I just want to see if everybody else does, and I'm just curious
Wrong.
about it is all.
Ken judges us.
Not at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, with that, thank you very much. So anything you want to give a shout out to? Your Twitter account you want to give a shout out to? Or
No.
any online projects you enjoy taking part in?
really.
No,
Sadly,
no,
a bit
okay,
more
no
in
problem.
that regard, sorry.
That's quite
But
all right.
thank you for
Well, thank you very much for
having
having
me,
being on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Dominic.
Thank you.
Have him go wrangle one of the other ones since he knows them.
All right. Yeah. Dom. One sec.
All right, so while Ken's doing that, yes, as you're talking about Hando and the IRC there, yeah, when I saw the Star Destroyer in the sand with this new trailer, there was a moment where, because first in the trailer, this is no like spoiler anybody. If you haven't gone and seen the new trailer, you're failing yourself. Go check it out. I would almost say pause the show or stop and go do that, but don't. You keep watching the show. But in the trailer, it is so amazing because it just hints at all these little pieces, and much like Dom said, at least for me, I've had a lot of concern and worry and just like, is this going to be the movie I need to see that I want to see? Is it going to make up for what the first or what the prequels ended up being? But when they show the person flying through the desert and you see basically a destroyed or derelict X-wing in the sand, you're kind of like, oh, okay. And it continues on, and the backdrop is this massive crashed Star Destroyer. There's just a moment where you see it like, what? Wait, what just happened there? And so, yeah, it's that trailer, oh the feels, oh the awesome, and I am so very excited for it. So, looking forward to it very much. And here we go, we have Ken sitting us down with our next guest from the Geek Retreat. Ken, would you please do us so kind as to introduce who you have for us, and please make sure you're not on mute, since I can't hear you. Nope, see, can't hear you. You did it again. Sort your system, Ken. Sort your Mac. As it keeps forgetting he has a mic as I tell him to not mute it anymore. There you go. Ken is back. Please, give us an introduction, Ken.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made the mistake of clicking mute. It's such a reflex now. You see, I use Windows most of the time, so moving to Mac, it breaks constantly.
It's Mac all the way at my uni.
It's really?
Yeah,
that's
everything's a Mac.
Oh, jeez. That's horrible.
I know.
I mean, they're pretty... We'll get into that. Okay, so I'd like to introduce Caitlin. I'm not going to say your second name if you don't want me to.
That's fine.
Caitlin Garden, or Caitlin's okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
So you're happy to be on air, it says here. We'll see. So we've got a few things, a couple of details here about you.
Mm-hmm.
You're a Street Pass Glasgow member and Geek Retreat website writer, just like Mr. Dominic. And you enjoy topics such as video games, especially Nintendo.
Yes.
I don't know if I'd call that gaming. I'm kidding. He's got to know it there. Yeah, no.
Embrace it.
No, the great thing about our little show here is that we are opposite in a lot of ways.
Yeah, meaning I'm actually a gamer and Ken just pretends.
Very funny. I'm actually a geek and he's not. So he likes My Little Pony. I don't.
I like My Little Pony.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, see?
There
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
We'll get into this. Okay.
I like Caitlin more already.
Yeah, see, I'm brilliant, obviously.
So give us a little introduction about yourself. So are you from around here?
I'm from Wisha originally, but I go to university at the Ayr UWS campus doing journalism, actually. And
Okay.
I'm in my third year right now.
So it's ideal that you want a podcast then?
Yes, it's ideal. We do a lot of radio work and stuff.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
I did a radio portfolio on the Street Pass Glasgow here. And
We better watch out when we've got a professional with us.
Nice.
She's gonna outclass us here.
Yep. Interviewing Mark Bowden, the UK Nintendo community manager.
Oh,
so
very
He was
cool.
really interesting to talk to and talking to Laura as well and the people around here. So it was really good to work on that.
Oh, look, we're doing networking while we're here as well, Wayne.
Outstanding.
Oh, very cool. That's very cool. So you got a bit of geek cred then behind you, you'd say?
Yeah, I've been writing pretty much since the start of my first year at uni, writing for the Geek Retreat website and that, and then just doing stuff on the side as well, and just doing portfolio work for my class as well.
Very nice, very nice. So we've been doing the podcast for a few years now. This kicked off from years ago. There was a little station called Warcraft Radio, and I say little, it grew kind of exponentially. This is before I was part of it and wrecked everything. I'm kidding. It was Mr. Wayne was part of the station. A chap called Toll Biscuit, I don't know if you know of him.
Yeah, I know Toll.
He was part of the station as well, and many others alike. Lots of podcasters. Broke down after a little while and decided to go and one of the offshoots was VTW, which is where we are.
Yeah.
And yes, and me and Mr. Wayne met a few years ago and started doing the show, and here we are today. We've done a few years under our belt. I like to always claim, I do on my CV as well, over 500 hours recorded. Thank you very much. That's what I like to say.
It's kind of easy when you do 2 hours a week every week for, I don't know, episode 195 that we're on of just Show X. So, yeah.
Something for our anniversary, by the way. We need to talk about that later. 200th. So we've got a couple hours under our belt, so I know we're no professionals, but bear with us. Technical difficulties and all. So Nintendo. Let's go on that one first. The less controversial My Little Pony.
Yes.
So what kind of games do you play? What consoles do you play?
I'm mostly into handhelds right now, and the biggest thing that I love is RPGs. I just recently spent quite a bit of money on a new 3DS with the Xenoblade Chronicles bundle.
Is this like the XL 3DS S2 7?
The question is,
3DS.
yeah, the newest 3DS, which has the little C nub, so that you can actually. Yes, the little
At
camera.
Least Sony names their products 1, 2, 3, 4. You know,
which. Well, and look how that's working out for Sony right now, right?
The PS4 is doing fine, thank you very much.
Yeah, and how is the PSP Vita-esque job they have?
Mine still works.
Yeah, hey, my original 1000 series PSP still works great. I don't buy anything for it now.
Aww.
I almost didn't know there was something after the PlayStation Vita, to be honest, so that's news to me.
Never heard of it.
Well, no, it's still like the Vita. They just come up with other versions of it, but yeah. So you got the new XL. How do you like it? Because I've heard the 3D on it's much better since they do the eye tracking now.
It is a lot better. I mean, 3D doesn't really work for me because I wear glasses, so half the time I can't see it. But then when I got this new 3DS, I tested it out and everything, and I can actually see it this time. With my old 3DS, it was just a bit blurry and it made me a wee bit motion sick. But now I can actually see it properly, and it's really good. Like I quite
really
enjoy
useful.
it.
You can see the console.
I know, it's really great when everything's not blurry. You know, I can see what I'm hitting.
Yeah, it's important.
It's popping into your face for real action. Yeah. It's good. It's having the added effect.
So what games are you playing?
Well, I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3DS right now since that came out, and I wanted to play the Wii one, but finding that in a store for a decent price was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I love the story of the game. I just never gotten to play it, and I was like, if they ever port it to 3DS, I don't care. I'm getting it. But then I found out it was on the new console, so I was like, well, I guess I'm shelling out for another console then.
Oh, that's interesting. So you did it specifically for one game then?
Well, for this one game, and then I told myself, right, I'll play it for whatever new games for this one comes out. I'll only play it on that one and save the space on it. And any game that doesn't need the new 3DS, I'll play on my old one. So I'll save the space between the two consoles.
You're quite the Nintendo fan, aren't you?
Yes.
Got multiple devices, playing them all at once.
Yes, okay. I have two of them, two chargers, back to back.
Very nice. Very nice. I think Copy would be pleased with this as well.
Yes, one of our fans who's a major Nintendo fangirl that we have on with us. So with that though, so my question, because I'm still learning the 3DS architecture that Nintendo has with this whole Street Pass thing and everything like that, especially since as I go to conventions and I've been playing around at our sci-fi convention this weekend, it's just been maxing out each, however many hours, like 10 people are waiting at your door, hurry up. And such, and so I'm still trying to figure that out. But my question for you then is, having two consoles, is it logged in with the same account on both?
Well, no, I tried to make it the same account for both, but it was a bit technical difficulties trying to transfer over the memory stuff, so I ended up having two different accounts. So there's two different people meeting each other all the time in my bedroom saying, oh, we've just met each other.
Okay, wait a minute. What did you just say?
Two different people in the bedroom meeting each other, having puzzle pieces and all that. So there's technically two different people, but it's just
that's more innocent.
Still me, yeah.
So another question coming to you from the IRC from our friend Copy, because she loves the Nintendo. She has to ask, since you have the new 3DS, do you have any amiibos?
I have. I intentionally bought one amiibo saying, I only want this one because it's the only character I want. I now have an entire collection. I now have pre-orders from Nintendo site, from the game site. It just turned into this sickness, and I don't know how to stop it.
So, you say that, and I will tell you that you and Copy can become best friends now, because she owns, I think, every amiibo released. and it has imported them even from. I've sent her stuff from the U.S. and other people have collected things for her to get the ones that were exclusives to certain stores that she couldn't get herself. And she has everything on pre-order. So that is specifically why she asked you that question, because she has that sickness and she sympathizes with you.
Yes, I mean, I even got to the point where I felt bad for my American friends, and I asked, "Do you want me to try and get the amiibo that's a Target or a store exclusive for you? Because I feel bad that you can't get this." So I have a Jigglypuff and a Greninja ordered for a friend of mine in America because I felt bad that he couldn't get it. So hopefully they don't get cancelled and I can send them to him.
Oh gosh, yes. Well, and that's funny too, because there's that whole side little controversy where people are talking about Nintendo, learn how to amiibo. Because you should have so many more. What are you doing running out?
You're making money. Don't give it to the scalpers.
Exactly. Nintendo, you could make the money. Just put in a bigger order, or instead you can let everyone sell it for 10 times as much on eBay and Amazon, right?
It's ridiculous.
This is about the time I should ask, what is an amiibo?
You know what a Skylander is?
No.
Disney Infinity?
No.
They're
All
little
the little
figures
miniatures, Ken,
that you
come
can
on.
put in the game.
But they're physical.
They're physical, yeah.
Okay, so you like scan them in
You
kind
can
of thing.
scan them in, and with Nintendo ones, it's like you can use them for Smash. Yeah, he's getting ready. You can use them for Smash, and you know they can fight each other. Yeah, that's Samus there. I don't know that, but
So can you scan through a camera or through your screen?
well, if you have a new 3DS or you have a Wii U, you put it on like the little game screen, and it scans it in, and it records like the battles and stuff, and they learn, like they have behaviors that they learn from the battles that they do.
Okay.
Like I have a villager amiibo, and he spams bowling balls all the time. That's pretty much what he's trained to do. So that's what he does.
Okay.
And they battle each other, and you know they learn things, and it's basically like cockfighting a wee bit.
A collectible fun thing, or do you see it as Nintendo trying to take money out of people by making them buy physical items for a game?
Well, at first I just started collecting because I thought they looked nice. I don't even have a Wii U, so I couldn't even do anything with them.
The best reason, yep.
It's exactly why I own Samus.
I was training them in here at like the Street Pass meetings and all that stuff. I was training them here when events were on, and then I just started getting more and more and more, and there it's got to the point where I'm up at like 3 o'clock in the morning checking the game website, refreshing it to see if it's up yet. Because they put it up at like 1:15 in the morning. Whoever's going to be awake at that time of the pre-orders, I don't know. It was ridiculous. I was half asleep, and Facebook tells me, "Oh, they're online now." I was like, "What? I need to get on. I need to refresh. I need to get through."
Roll out of bed,
get on the website, try and get these figures. It's ridiculous.
That's awesome.
It's good to be passionate about something.
It's good to be passionate, but when you're sat there in your uni class refreshing your mobile screen, waiting for a pre-order to go up, you're like, "What am I doing with my life?"
No, you just have your priorities sorted. Don't feel bad at all.
Definitely. No, definitely. All right. So, what's the Street Pass meeting you mentioned?
It's on every Tuesday, roughly about 4 o'clock, and people bring in like their Nintendo Wii's or their Wii U consoles, and they set them up on the television screens over there.
Okay.
And sometimes we have like different tournaments and stuff, and we have like casual play. Last week was actually an amiibo tournament as well. It was what was it called again? It was like just the two of us, where you played with your amiibo in a tag team match.
Sure.
And whoever was the best like came up top. I think our winner was Marth amiibo with a Mario player, so he won, and it was really good. It was really interesting to see all the different matches and everything, and people bringing all their amiibos. We had like 3 foxes playing at one point, so it was pretty intense, but it was quite a good laugh.
That's cool. So, do you think this specific games collection that Nintendo have created is more of a encourages sort of a social aspect to
I feel
gaming?
like it does, but then at the same time I feel like these figures that are toys for kids, they're being more pushed towards adults who are up at all hours of the night
and have the money to buy them.
Because
Yes.
you've got a parent going, "Where's this thing I want to get my child?" They're all sold out.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Only if you want a million Marios, then you can have them, but you can't get like the rare ones.
Of course.
Oh, let's say a copy in the IRC said she picked up her was it her Rosalie from the EU that she had to pick up.
Rosalina?
Yeah, Rosalina.
Mine's Japanese. I had to import it.
Exactly, right? And that's the thing.
So you went to the lengths of getting it from literally the opposite side of the world.
Yeah, it also turned out cheaper that way, so it was nice.
See?
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it is one of those interesting things that's come up from Nintendo that I didn't understand when it first hit, and I still don't fully understand because I have an old 3DS and I don't have a Wii U or anything like that, so I can't use it. So I picked mine up just for collectability because Samus, and so yeah.
Well,
So
they're making an adapter that you can use your old 3DS with the Amiibo, so they're making that.
Oh gosh, don't tell me that.
You can just plug it in, and then you can stick your Amiibos on it, and then it'll work with your old 3DS.
Oh no! I use my 3DS right now mostly for the little what is it? The Pokemon, the new Pokemon Shuffle game, and for my little Miiverse, so I can go in there and play the little Dungeon Hunter and get all the little things there, which I've almost beat the whole board through, and then so I can get my puzzle collection, so I get all the little puzzle pieces from people. That's pretty much what I have it for.
Handheld gamer. You need them.
Well, and I have no question that Nintendo is owning the handheld market, and it's going to be very interesting. And I'm kind of curious what you think, Caitlin, about the idea that they're finally going to release or allow for Nintendo IP to show up on phones.
I actually wrote a little thing about that for the website as well.
did you?
Just a little short thing, but I'm quite curious to see how they're going to work that. I mean, mobile gaming is really big in Japan, specifically. I know that a couple of Kingdom Hearts games were mobile specific, and then they got ported over to Nintendo consoles, like the handheld. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what they do with mobile games as well, because it's a huge market in Japan, and it can certainly work over here, especially with smartphones. I think it'd be really interesting to see where they go with it.
Because when you said Nintendo's owning the whole handheld market, I had to disagree because I was going to say no, mobile phones are, but the gaming there really is bigger, I'd say.
Well,
however, if Nintendo breaches that gap, yeah, exactly, right. How many people are happy to spend 69 pence on Candy Crush just to get the next saga sort of thing, right? That's where all the money goes, I think. Genuinely, like, people who we wouldn't call gamers. Like
I know. Well, no. They are gamers.
Exactly, right.
And tries to get me to play it so she can get lives. I'm like, I'm not playing it.
See, that's the thing that hates me, or that I dislike about that whole social media gaming aspect, is that it is all about just propagating that game to everywhere in the world.
It's
smart.
That's really smart.
It's smart marketing that I wish I would stab somebody who came up with it. Because the thing that makes you want to dislike or defriend someone on any social media is when they do nothing but send you invites to games you never want to play.
Yeah, you can look through my block list on Facebook and just see like 370 apps, just all blocked because my mum is 360 in.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see them bridging that gap. So you mentioned your article. Do you want to give a shout out to where they could find that?
It's geekretreat.com. You can just go in there. We do a lot of stuff like comic book reviews, film reviews. I do a lot of game stuff or things to do with like anime and manga and all that stuff like that. So
that's something, Mr. Wayne, you shows interest with again with you.
Let's just swap numbers after this. That'll be fine.
Hey. Absolutely, you are welcome to contact us. I love to keep my Scottish contacts all together. Well, so the fun part is I have had an opportunity to sit very much where you are today, where over the holidays I was able to come visit Ken, and we, much like a lot of people we've talked to when they found the Geek Retreat, for us, we happened to be sitting at the bus stop across the street and just saw the sign saying the Geek Retreat. I was like, well, what's this? And we're able to make the opportunity one time where we're like, well, let's go check it out, and just wander down. And we're very surprised to find this haven for all things geek down there, and how wonderfully designed and opened up it is, and the shakes and things that you can get. And it was just like, what is this?
Yeah, I mean, Miss Wayne's from Colorado, by the way.
So yes, out here in the United States, in the middle of our country.
He's in the middle of the Dust Bowl at the moment, I believe. But the drought season. But anyway, we were saying, where were we again? Where did we get to?
Talk about handhelds and then mobile phones, and then I gave a plug, and then
oh yes, the plug. That's where we were.
Wow, see, Caitlin more professional than Ken. So Caitlin, do you do things about this time of day normally on Sundays or something? Would you ever be interested in like podcasting or something like that? Speaking to people on air.
I would give my time.
I thought there was a beard only.
A bit of a beard thing. No. See,
yeah, I've got the hair for it.
Yeah, see,
and it's anime. That's where we got to. Anime.
Dan and Goose.
Yeah, the anime and mangoes. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, jeez, Ken.
So what I know. I'm sorry. So what shows are you in particular into then?
Right now I'm going through Kill la Kill. That's one that I'm watching right now.
I know that one. That's a classic.
Kill la
isn't it? That's a
Kill.
classic.
Yes.
Is that a classic win?
No, it's not
heard that
classic.
one.
It's new awesome. It's newer
quite
awesome.
new awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just so you
Quite
know,
aggressive.
Caitlin, for reference, Ken's
Yes.
understanding of anime involved The Last Airbender and Dragon Ball Z.
That's it.
And that is
Right, you
it.
need to spread your palette.
That's
a wee bit.
it. I cannot get him to watch anything else.
I have lots of DVDs that you can borrow. I have a whole box. I will educate you.
I've tried, but I feel like the comedy and the format is so samey.
Then I'll get you some of the more morbid ones, and we'll.
So I tried Attack on Titan, right?
Yeah.
And I watched like, the first 5 episodes, and at first, I thought this is really cool. I was like, this is a really cool concept. Really get into it. I even watched the subbed version, not dubbed version, which I know a lot of anime critics are like, oh, you're not really watching anime unless you're watching yada yada yada.
Thank you, Caitlin.
But
Yeah, it's
I
like,
even did that, and I was enjoying it. But come like episode 3 or 4, it just started getting samey, and I felt like it was getting really emotional versus
Do you not
we're
like
killing
feels?
giants. No, I want them to kill giants and be eaten alive.
Feels.
I don't want the feels.
See, Ken goes to that whole. I'm a
Can't do
big
that
Scottish man. I don't have feels. I'm here to cut people and like kill everyone and wear kilts. That's all I do and drink scotch
haggis
and
and-
yes,
feels.
exactly.
I
Yes.
frequently do all these things. I mean,
See, he tries to be the cliche Scotsman, and so having feels is just like meh.
No.
it's not a try. I just happen to be these things. Thank you very much.
Well, because come on, Ken, you could watch Death Note. You could watch. There's so
Watch
many.
Death Note. You could watch.
To be fair, Death Note has appealed to me in the past.
Watch
I'll give you
Death
that.
Note. You could watch. There's a new one coming out. It's called Cute High Defense Earth Club Love, which is a magical boy parody.
that
It's
would
a
look
parody
so.
Sailor Moon with magic boys.
It's male. It's
Dragon
male
Ball Z?
Sailor Moon. It looks so.
Madoka Magica. That's a good one.
What's the funny one that people always bring up when they're supposed to ask about what anime to watch? Oh no, what is it? It's like
There's
some.
many things.
I know. I was gonna say that's too indistinct there, Ken.
If you want to
Yeah.
have a racist one, you could do Hitalia.
Isn't that the one? I'm not gonna.
Oh,
Is that the one?
Hey, that
with-
one's.
I don't want to say it loud. Is that the one with Hitler?
Well,
I
no.
think he pops up at one point.
Yeah, every
I
once in a
think
while.
I've seen, like,
It's the World
bits
War
from that.
II
Yeah.
retelling that's all done with each country being an actual character. That it
Yeah,
initially
so-
starts
So
with a
Germany
really.
is blonde with blue eyes, and he's muscly, and he
Very
likes
Aryan,
sausages.
yes.
And America
England can't
always-
cook, and he loves tea, and he has massive eyebrows.
Yes, and America
And he hates
always
America.
wears bomber jackets and eats hamburgers and is loud and obnoxious. And Canada
And
looks
he's the hero.
yeah, and Canada looks exactly like America and gets blamed for everything that America does, and so everyone hates and beats on Canada. So
brilliant.
Yeah,
it is
it's brilliant.
hilarious.
And they're only 5 minutes long each
Yep.
episode, so they're watching you.
Not watching much anime.
Yeah, so they're very quick. They're very quick. So it was a web series at first.
But I don't know. The thing that really puts me off is whenever I see. So I frequent Funny Junk, right? It's kind of my website to go to for funny. Some people use 9gag, some people use 4chan, whatever. I use Funny Junk, and there's a lot of people who like anime, but it's kind of like the adult themed animes that's more there, and people are sort of like just taking gifts from the silly parts, like where a girl's like flying backwards and narrowly avoiding a bullet by flapping certain parts of her body and stuff like that. And I'm like, that doesn't really appeal to me. I gotta say, it's not. I wouldn't call that a plot.
So Ken
There are
explores
few things with strange
yeah. Well, there's things you have to accept about anime, and the problem is because Ken doesn't really try to understand it.
No.
He only sees the darker sides, the things that people focus on that are kind of on the fringe, and so he has this weird feeling that is all anime.
Yeah. That's not all anime. It's only a couple of things.
Maybe that's just what Wayne
exists.
tells me to go watch.
Oh shush!
I kid.
All right,
Give
if you were to
things a
go watch,
chance.
say,
Okay.
Ken, go watch some Psychopaths, go watch the Irregulars at Magic High School, go watch.
Madoka Magica, High School of the Dead.
Oh yes.
Oh, I've heard High School
of
Dead.
Dead.
That's part. Is that zombie stuff?
It's zombie high school.
Yeah,
I like zombie
you
things.
you would
I like
actually
zombie
like High School
Black
of the Dead.
Butler.
Yeah.
And
There's so much, Ken.
All
So
those
much.
good stuff.
So with that in mind, what manga do you read, or is there any specific?
Manga.
Because that's something I don't really partake of. It's mostly anime for me. I have some manga, but it's so hard for me to just. Again, it's like the comic book thing I was telling Dominic earlier. If I go and try to get into manga, I will buy all of them, and so I don't have the money to support a manga habit.
Well, the main manga that I'm collecting right now is a series called Alice in the Country of Hearts, and it's like it's a huge manga collection. It was based off a dating simulator where it was Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
And it got turned into a manga, and like all the different volumes are the specific path that she goes to. This is where she falls in love with the Mad Hatter, or this is where she falls in love with the White Rabbit, and it's all the different series about what would happen if like she chose that relationship. So
That's a cool concept. I don't know if I'm particularly caring about the date sim side of things. But
No.
I like the seeing every path thing.
yeah,
That could be quite
I
cool.
liked it mainly because I liked the character design, and they all had like amazing outfits and designs and all this stuff. So I was
Okay.
just like, I like all the pretty clothes. I will read this, and I will keep
Again,
going.
copy will agree with all that. Okay.
I was gonna say I see a kindred spirit here, so very
Yes.
nice.
It's a wee bit biased. The Cheshire Cat has like 7 volumes, which I think is a bit biased, but whatever.
Oh, that's that bit of fan service.
It's a bit of fan service. It's 7 mangas long.
So, does she ever like die at the end of them? Is there any like consequences to her actions and stuff?
Well, the consequence of it is that she's the only human in the world, and everyone in the world, they are not human. Their hearts are clocks. So when they get killed, they turn back into a clock, and they get reborn again as a different person.
Okay.
So they don't have the memory of the past life, so they feel like basically it's a gang war going on because they're all mafias against each other, and they don't really care about killing each other, but because they're like, oh, I'll just be reborn again, and then she's all like, oh, but you won't be the same person. I love you, and blah blah blah.
Okay,
Well,
that's
no,
quite interesting.
Yeah.
That actually adds a whole lot more depth to it.
You have the Mad
that's
Hatter
kind of
Mafia, you have the Red Queen Mafia, you have the Cheshire Cat Mafia.
It's kind of like a discussion on Buddhism almost.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Okay.
funny because hearing that makes me want to check it out, if nothing else, but for the potential cosplay. Ooh, the
So many
costumes.
cosplay.
Oh, I
So,
can
are
see
you in a
that.
cosplay?
Yeah, I cosplay as well.
Ah,
As I quickly
Caitlin,
move off anime and
What
manga
what do
topics.
you cosplay? What do you cosplay?
I've cosplayed Jack Frost from Rise of the Guardians.
Nice. I've seen that film. I enjoyed it.
I made my own staff and everything, and it
Nice.
was
Cool.
2 weeks worth of making that staff, but I was quite proud of it.
Nice.
I also cosplayed as a Pokemon.
Cool.
And Kari from Digimon Season 1, I cosplayed as her as well. And
Old school.
so that's what I've been working on now. I don't know what my next one will be, but we'll see. We'll see.
Cool.
Very cool.
Mr. Wayne's here. He's got a claim to fame that I always bring up whenever I have the chance. He dressed up as Shepard from Firefly.
Ooh.
And there's a couple of new things recently, but one of the older bit of news, yeah, but he does that. He dyes it grey and everything. And there's a photo taken of him and a bunch of other people in the Firefly cast, like, the characters, right? And it got put on Twitter, and Nathan Fillion retweeted it.
Ooh.
So that's his little claim to fame with cosplaying.
As well as I
Very
may
nice.
have been. I may have been in a music video for Firefly where I cosplayed Book, and we had the entire cast, one of the best casts I've ever seen, put together for a cosplay group as we did a music video about Firefly that's going to be released at the end of May. So hopefully
there's a
everyone will
date
see
now.
that. Yes,
Ooh.
it'll be somewhere
exciting.
Memorial Day weekend. So the second to last or the last weekend in May, there will be, when I'm in Toronto at Anime North doing my cosplay up there, it's going to be released and it's going to be epic. God, I wish I could show people it. Some people have maybe seen bits of it. Sorry, Ginny. But and I've heard positive response so far. So, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So anyone who's a brown coat, just know that that's coming and it's going to be amazing.
It's
Are
coming.
you a Firefly fan?
I like Firefly.
Good,
yeah.
good. So you did understand what we just talked about.
Yes,
Okay.
I knew what was going down.
Cool. Okay. The last thing I wanted to bring up was My Little Pony.
Yes, that.
Okay. Now,
Friendship is magic, Ken. It is.
It's
so
magic.
so Mr. Wayne's a big fan,
Yes.
and so are a lot of people here, and that's cool.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I'm
You don't
not,
get it.
I respect everyone's opinion to like whatever they want, but I just don't actually see the actual appeal to it. Like what like, oh God. Like I just don't. Like, even shows that I don't like, I can generally see the appeal to it. I just don't see it with the show. What's the appeal?
Well, for me, it's a couple of different things. At first, I only liked it because I like to draw, and I saw it as something cute to draw, and I just started drawing it. I would watch the
That's good
occasional
reason.
episode and blah blah blah, and then I got watching it. And then the comics started coming out, and I read the comics, and I really enjoyed them. And then the card game came out, and I started playing the card game, and I really enjoyed the card game as well. So it was just like I was getting deeper and deeper and deeper into it. So this is a thing I like now. So
Is your whole room now just My Little Pony themed now?
I only have a small shelf.
Okay,
and it
that's not
has
too bad.
4 plushes on it, and that's it.
Okay,
Aw,
that's
very
not
nice.
too bad.
I have
So-
Chrysalis, Shining Armor, Flutterbat, and Pinkie Pie.
Oh wow, nice. That is that's a good selection because the only mainstream one of that is Pinkie Pie. Which,
Yeah.
Yes, because having Flutterbat, that's awesome.
I know, I love it. It was a Christmas present from a friend, and
Aw.
I was visibly happy.
Oh, that's good.
She has fangs, Ken. She's got fangs.
She's a vampire pony with wings, and she sucks the blood out of apples.
Yes, sucks the
the
cores
one
out of the
crit-
apples.
The one bit of credit I have to give to the MLP community is there is a pony version of everything.
Yes.
It's like Rule 34, but pony instead of other things.
Yeah, I gotta
So
find out
if
what
you can
number
find
that rule
Buffy-
is.
Yeah, that must be rule. If it exists, there is a pony version of it, right?
Pretty much.
So like, there's a Buffy, there's a Bender from Futurama, there's
There's Dr. Hooves.
Oh, yes, Dr. Hoove. No, that one's great. That one's
He's
great.
brilliant.
Yes.
And they did a Doctor Who joke in the comics as well, and it was
Yes.
brilliant.
They actually linked
He
it
had a
in.
time machine, and Doctor Hooves was in it, and he said, "We've got enough crossovers in this comic, you get away."
No, it is. So that's the thing. It's so well written. That's the thing that you don't give it enough credit for, Ken. Is that the show itself being that it's written from the same people who did Powerpuff Girls, which was such an amazing show in its own right, to then come and do the My Little Pony theme and make something that is universally appealing not just to little kids but to adults as well, because the humor in it is across the board. It's just humor. And they do such a good job with it. I know, Ken, that you refuse because anything that's too cute goes against your natural bearded manliness.
okay.
But no,
One take
much
step.
much
So
love
what you're
for
saying?
that.
I was trying to do bicep curls over here. What are you
Yeah,
saying?
exactly. Yeah, making Caitlin over there a little verklempt, I understand. But no, so Caitlin, the question that's important when it comes to My Little Pony, of course, is favorite pony?
That's a tough one. I think Pinkie Pie, probably.
Hey,
So, I mean,
Favorite
outstanding.
main pony, favorite villain, Chrysalis.
Nice. Very good on both counts. And it's funny, Copy in the IRC says, it's rule 34.2. And then she continues to say, I'm not even lying, and I don't know how I know that, but it is rule 34.2.
I refuse to Google that in here. I'm not going to the internet.
Don't
Not-
take
yeah.
the internet.
Yeah, I don't want to see what comes up on that one, Ken. Don't do it.
All right. With that, is there anything you'd like to plug? Anything
Yes,
else?
please
Anything
let
at all,
us know
feel free.
everything that you think everyone on our show should know about you, things you're into, stuff like that, and then we'll go to a break after that, Ken, and I got a
Sure.
little song coming up for us that hopefully everyone there will appreciate. But Caitlin, please let us know all that you want us to know.
Well, I draw as well, and I have art Tumblr as well that I do a lot of different drawings for video games and anime and pony
cool.
stuff as well, if people like that. So it's Scribble Sketch Scoo at Tumblr,
That's
Nice.
cool. Is that scribbles in SCRIBBLE?
and then sketch, and then Scoo with 2 O's.
Scoo is an SKEW.
SCOO.
Okay. It's okay. Okay, I've got that down.
Scribble Sketch.
So everyone out there is interested in some interesting art from a fellow Scot, go check it out at
Tumblr.
Tumblr dot something dot.
Scribble Sketch.
Okay, there we go. I don't know Tumblr. I don't know how to do the Tumblr.
Tumble the things.
It tumbles around my mind. I have no idea. Thank you very much, Howard, for
Thank you
being on
very
the
much
show.
for having me. That's
No problem.
lovely. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
With that, Mr. Wayne, shall we?
Yes, with that, I'll be playing a song that I know we play a lot, but I figure it's a good one for a general audience. And so we're going to play some Jonathan Colton, and we're going to go something that's keeping us still alive. And so we will be back after this in about what? It gives us about 4 minutes. And, refresh, get some drinks, get Ken time to wrangle in another guest onto the show. And with that, we will be right back, everyone. So keep on listening, and more to you from the Geek Retreat in Scotland.
Send in your emails to showx@vtwproductions.com.
Hey, this is John DiMaggio. You're listening to VTWProductions.com. So don't stop listening. Continue to listen. Why are you not listening? Wait a minute. What?
weird show, it's like the only thing you know. You talk about it every day. You know this is child's play. Your path ahead is blurred, told to go join in on the herd. You know this show's for younger crowds. How can you say you're proud? Now think, Brody, think. Everything in here is pink. You spent your precious time, now you're walking the fine line, and then you have the nerve to ask me to observe these girly things. You open your mouth and sing. Ponies aren't just for girls, let this tale unfurl. Twilight sparkle, pinky pie, applejack and fluttershy. Do not be afraid, we will never fade. Rainbow dash and rarity, join the herd, and you will see. Hey, this show's not bad, I'll give it to you, I'm real glad. I never thought I'd like this stuff, I thought I was just too tough. I'm sorry I was rude, I feel happy and renewed. And even though I feel naive, I find it hard to leave. So thanks, Brody, thanks. My mind was shooting blanks. I feel like such a fool. Who knew ponies were this cool? Now wait for Saturday for the show to play. What will it bring? We open our mouths and sing. Ponies aren't just for girls, let this tale unfurl. Twilight sparkle, pinky pie, applejack and fluttershy. Do not be afraid, we will never fade. Rainbow dash and rarity, join the herd, and you will see. So thanks, Brony, thanks. Looks like I've joined your ranks. I never could repay what you've done for me today. So thanks, Brony, thanks. Looks like I've joined your ranks. I never could repay. Ponies aren't just for girls, let this tale unfurl. Twilight sparkle, pinky pie, applejack and fluttershy. Do not be afraid, we will never fade. Rainbow dash and rarity, join the herd, and you. Ponies aren't just for girls, let this tale unfurl. Twilight sparkle, pinky pie, applejack and fluttershy. Do not be afraid, we will never fade. Rainbow dash and rarity, join the herd, and you will see.
You're listening to Show X on btwproductions.com.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Show X. So we are running into, as predicted, some issues with the stream. I don't know if Ken must have kicked the cord or pissed off the Geek Retreat gods, but for whatever reason, our Skype call has failed. And so I am trying to call him back, and we'll see what happens here. Oh look! He decided to join us again.
Funnily enough, the back died, which is just more pressing towards why OS X sucks.
I was curious, because all of a sudden I'm like, and he's gone.
Sir, could you do me a favor and discuss your geek cred a little bit this week while I go and actually go find something that I'm not just fixing this.
Alright, as we will bounce back and forth between things that are going on, but I will talk about my geek cred, so.
I'm a geek.
Cheers.
Are you a geek? Geek cred, level up!
So, today on our geek cred, alright, I was talking about Starfest a little bit, and we discussed the Star Wars trailer a little bit as well, so that was a piece of what I wanted to bring up for everybody out there. But, so please watch the Star Wars trailer. I'm actually excited for it now. We'll see. But Starfest! So the local geek convention that I spent my weekend at, and this has been one of the best convention weekends I've had. Partly because I've been able to hang out with the wonderful group over at Geekyarchy, who invited me to do that Firefly video that I cannot tease enough about. Oh, yeah, can't wait. But essentially, this group is a bunch of young geeks, very talented, both musically and just in what they do, production of videos and such. And so with them, I was able to spend the weekend, and we had just an amazing time hanging out, taking photos of everyone. I do have another album I'll be putting up shortly of all the different cosplays and things like that I've seen from this weekend, because people come on point and put out some amazing costumes. And so with that, it's really, really fun. So hopefully you guys keep an eye out for more coming from my feeds about Starfest and what's been going on with that. Some of the example, just as a heads up, is the man himself, MacGyver. Mr. Dean Anderson was at Starfest, so we got to see, leader of Stargate 1's Team 1, and MacGyver, everything else he's done, was there at Starfest, got to see pictures of him, several famous people, including one of my favorite authors out there that I got to look and sit right next to in front of Mr. Timothy Zahn, who writes some of the best Star Wars fiction out there. Is at the convention right now, and so things like that. Anyhow, so instead of hearing me ramble, Ken has a guest ready to come on with us as he finishes getting his ears back in. So we are ready for you, Ken, whenever you unmute yourself and see if it works without breaking things this time, to see who you have with us. Hey, look, it worked.
Of course it worked. I fixed everything. No problem. I never break anything. What are you talking about? All right. With us here, in fact, how about you introduce yourself? I've been introducing everybody so far, but tell us your name.
Yeah, I'm Joshua Garner.
Joshua Gardner. Nice to meet you, Joshua. Thanks for joining us today. So, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I'm 18 years old. I'm a student at GCU in Glasgow. I'm head of the GCU Gaming Society. I'm head of tabletop for GCU Gaming Society.
That's ideal because we know very well. I personally, I'm not talking for Wayne. I personally know very little about tabletop, so I'd love to hear more about that, especially. But so sorry, you were saying?
So as head of tabletop, I run any tabletop related events.
Sure.
And we've had quite a few. Actually, International Tabletop Day just passed.
Cool.
That's a great event because that's literally what I do.
Sure.
So we just basically we had a whole room rented out and we just had board games set up all about the room. Had people come in, play games for like 8 hours, I think it was.
Jeez.
So yeah, it was a pretty fun time.
It's intense.
Yeah.
So, what's your preference for tabletop games? I know we've got a bunch of them around us. I was mentioning earlier, all I've ever actually played is Pathfinder, so that's my total experience there.
Yeah, I'd say I don't know. I sort of like everything. Like I'm quite into the cards board game. So like I'm playing Magic and I also play White Schwartz as well. But I'm into your typical board games as well, like Pathfinder, Betrayal at House on the Hill. It's great. Munchkin is always great fun as well.
Cool.
So we have a lot of that going on at the society.
It's cool.
So question about Munchkin, since you bring that up. How long does the average Munchkin game you run take to actually complete?
Can you hear him? Oh, okay.
No,
sorry.
I'm not getting that through my earphone.
Tell me when you do. Sorry, he's not hearing you.
I gotcha.
No.
Cool.
No. Yeah, this one is about.
Oh, there we go.
You got it? Hey?
Nope.
No.
No.
There
we go.
Don't touch it again, Ken. It's right there. Okay.
Oh, no, got it.
Break the things.
Is that just a standard audio port?
Yeah.
Do you want me to plug in my earphones?
It's actually this thing is probably the problem. It's
right. Okay.
Thing. So I'll pass on the question. How about I ask the question?
Okay.
Go ahead, Ken. Ask the question.
I'll try and fix it. You know
how long does the average Munchkin game go? Whenever he's hosted one.
Okay, so the question is, how long does the average Munchkin game go when you're hosting one?
It can go up to an hour, maybe 2 hours, depending on how well you work. Munchkin is a game where you can either all be friendly and it'll be kind of boring, or have that one person who's kind of a jerk.
Sure.
And he's like, oh, I'll just make the monsters more powerful, I'll cause trouble for you, and that's when the games get longer, but they also get much better.
I was going to say, is that more fun as well, right? Oh yeah, of course. Cool.
It's always great when you have that one person at the table. Preferably two or
do you
three.
try and be the local a-hole? So I would be.
Try and get one. I like early turns. I try and see who's gonna be the sort of runner here.
Sure.
I'm like, I want them on my side, so I'll screw over everyone else, get them on my side.
Nice. So you're very smart. So you're very tactical about your games, you'd say.
I'd say so.
Sneaky even. Cool. So yeah, my personal experience with tabletop games, like I said, was Pathfinder. So I actually, from here, I believe, I bought the generic Pathfinder Adventure set, and I tried to organize a game with like a bunch of people. We did one quick run through, and then I just couldn't get people together. And when we could, we didn't really know what we were doing. And I was trying to GM with no experience. What kind of hints would you give to these kind of people who are new to tabletop gaming, never tried it before, want to?
I probably wouldn't recommend Pathfinder as your first game. Hence, like you do need to know what's going on and how to play the game. Also, you do need a group of people. Whereas Munchkin is, I think, 3 to 6 players. So if you can get 3 or 4 mates rounds, you can get that good. It's pretty easy to pick up.
So what is Munchkin? I don't actually know much about it.
It's essentially the tabletop version of dungeon diving.
Okay.
So you get a character and you can pick their class and you draw cards and you can put down race, class, you can equip your character then you basically every turn you kick down the door, which essentially have a chance of fighting a monster. You have a chance of getting some
That's
other
pretty cool.
effects, so
Okay.
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
So, do you find a lot of these games pretty much require people to have a good imagination with?
Not so much with Munchkin and games like that, because the cards are pretty well you understand what's going on.
Sure.
Whereas, but I guess you do need a bit of imagination, like to come up with your strategies and stuff like that. You need to be able to see what's going on. You need to be able to imagine what could happen as well. But we do have games like that. Like we do actually have a head of role playing who organises D&D and Pathfinder and stuff like that as well.
Okay.
So those are more imaginary games.
Do you enjoy those as well? Do you?
Yeah, they're pretty fun, especially if you get quite a good group together. Like if you get a bunch of varying people, because everyone has different stances, and then it actually feels like you're exploring dungeons. And
Sure, that's cool. So again, I have not much experience myself, but I have read a lot of stories from people who've done it themselves. Green text stories from 4chan, mostly actually. People explaining the generic stereotypes you find in these groups, right?
Yeah.
So you find the one guy who wants to make a really emo character, right? And he's like, "Oh, my guy is really powerful, but he's just so broken inside." And as he tries to fight his demons, in reality, he's also fighting them in his mind.
Yeah.
Do you have that kind of guy there?
I'm trying to think. I don't think we have that kind of guy there, but we definitely have the people that you can see, like them coming into their characters, like they're
Really?
stuck. Yeah, I bet actually. Like you see that with like the class people pick and stuff like that. So if you've got a class that can be mischievous, you will have mischievous person pick it.
Sure.
And so that sort of.
Have you had much experience with people being like a generic thief, like, "Oh, I'm gonna go a thief," and then instantly tries to steal from the other player characters and stuff?
Straight away. Like we've had the guy who's like, "I'm gonna be a warrior and I'm gonna charge right in, open door, guys." It's like, great work. You're gonna be sitting in a corner for 3 hours while we actually play this well. That's when tabletop can be a bit iffy, when you get eliminated straight away and you're on your own for 4 hours.
Yeah. That sounds like fun though. So what's your longest game you've had of any?
Longest game? I don't even know. Like, it's probably with Magic, because you can have as many people in a game of Magic as you want, just because the way the game's done. And I've had like a 4-hour Magic session before. Just the way the decks worked out.
That's cool.
We were all in like a stalemate for a good 4 hours.
You see, I'm a noob. I like Hearthstone, so.
Oh no, Hearthstone's great. Hearthstone's pretty good. A bit too RNG, but
It is very RNG, yeah. But I played Magic, the Steam version as well. Like I played like 3 different games from that because I enjoyed those.
they're not the best, but they teach you how to play.
Sure. The thing that I'm really missing out, I know how to play the game, I think, but I don't know how to build a deck, right?
Right. Okay.
I think that's what I really miss out on from not coming to like the Magic Nights like tonight.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh tonight, wasn't it?
There was Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic.
Pretty
hectic day actually.
Yeah, it was very busy actually, but looks like everybody was having fun. So would you call yourself a collector as well? Do you have like a room full of cards?
No, I'm not at that point yet, but no, I say like I'm not really collecting. Like I'm not trying to get one of every card or anything. I just try and get things that I think are cool, and then I'll build around that or something like that.
Sure.
I'm in it for the fun. I'm not like I wasn't in this tournament today. I'm not competitive or anything like that. So.
Okay. So would you say that people here are generally beginners, or do you think a lot of people are experts?
I think you get a good variation in here actually. Like some days you will come in and there'll be a young team who's just started picking up Magic. Maybe because I started playing Magic less than a year ago because I was I'm just out of high school. So in my high school there wasn't very many nerds.
Sure.
So when I came up here,
you'll find that's a beautiful thing about uni. You go into there's so many people that you can find the right niche for you. I know the exact same thing happened to me.
Definitely. So when I came up here, I could start exploring that more and start getting into Magic and stuff like that.
And you can feel less insecure about it as well. Because I know back in my high school, it was very anti-geek, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you like something that is not football, then you are soccer for you Americans. Then
proper ball.
Right? So it is good to be able to come into your prime in these kind of places. I know
my high school very much was like that. Like I did have a group of friends who enjoyed gaming, but it was more video games.
Yeah. Cool. So what kind of are you into video games at all?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
Are you a PC gamer or a console gamer?
I'm a bit of both. I've mostly been a console gamer.
Wrong answer.
But I did recently get a gaming laptop, and so that's been pretty much all my gaming.
Good. There we go.
All right.
Good man. We're PC gamers very much. We have had consoles in the past, but I'd say that we're mostly. Each to their own, of course, but if you're missing out on the best thing, it's just a shame, really, isn't it?
But, I've never been like, I don't want to say like hardcore enough to get a PC because like all the games I wanted were on console, and it's easy enough just to plug that into a TV and go.
Oh yeah. There is that element of it.
Yeah, like, and I have siblings and stuff who want to play it as well, so I mean it's easy enough to just let, like, because then you have a console that anyone can use.
That makes sense.
Whereas with a computer, you want that to be your own.
Definitely. So what do you use? Do you use Steam, Origin?
Yeah, Steam.
And what would you say your game count is?
Oh, it's not very high actually. It's
really
about 40 or 50 games.
Oh, you will soon be in the hundreds with us.
I know.
It's not bad, yes. Can you hear him now, by the way?
No, he can't hear me.
I just didn't want to.
Okay. I'll keep trying.
Massage that cord, Ken. You'll get it.
Oh,
there we go. No, I lost
Hey, can you hear me now? See?
I keep getting the
it's in the middle of these two. Like there?
No, not yet.
Well, wait and speak.
Oh, you just got to get it just that soft little bit, Ken. You got to have more delicate hands. Try pulling it out all the way, Ken.
There we go. There we go.
Oh, hey.
Got it.
Now don't touch it, Ken.
We had it. It was good.
Fiddle it until you hear. Because we're doing. That was a silly 3 we were doing.
Yes, everybody touch it at once and see what happens.
It works when I take my hand off that.
Tell me where to hold it in. I'll hold it in.
Nah, just so the key there is you got to pull it out all the way and then just slowly push it until it holds itself. Ken, you broke the show. It's actually probably coming. You broke it. You and your hardware skills. That's all right. Nobody needs to hear me. This is about Scotland. This is about the Geek Retreat. So go ahead and do your bit there.
I can't hold that and sit comfortably as well.
Exactly. Don't worry about it.
I'll keep fiddling until maybe we have some sort of solution. Where were we? We're discussing video games and your Steam. Yes. So I think I'm near the 330 limit now.
I've got a friend who's sitting at about 640 at the moment. He's played about 4% of his library, I think.
Yeah, I'm the exact same. There are websites that exist where you can actually see
all those statistics.
Yeah, how much money you spent, right? And how much time you.
I never like seeing that. Even sometimes in here, I'm like, can I put my hand over the card reader and I'll just stick it in there?
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
I'll see if I can eat tomorrow. Yeah, I know the feeling. I'm actually going back to be a student in a few weeks myself.
Oh,
by the way. I'll be working just now, but I'm going back to uni in a few weeks.
What is it you're studying? If you don't mind me asking.
No, it's fine. Computing science. So true nerd. I'm going back to do my PhD. So, fellow student. I came out the other side with a ring on my finger though, so I grew up quickly after uni.
I guess you'd have to.
So, what consoles were you into beforehand?
I think I was Xbox 360 and then went to PS4.
Not a standard choice, because nobody wanted an Xbox.
When I was a kid though, I was very much Nintendo. Like I just think my parents just had the Nintendo stuff. I guess that's how every the parents, they know Nintendo. It's a household name.
Sure.
Whereas Sony is more that's your PCs and your monitors. Like they don't tend to associate that with a kid's console.
That's true.
So I think that's why my parents went in. So I had like 64, GameCube. And then I think from the game, it went to the Wii. So that sort of.
Wii's. I think everybody has a Wii. Even if you don't go buy one, you just find one in your house one day.
Yeah, it's the console.
No, God,
no.
We call it the dust collector.
Fair enough.
To be fair, it used to be. Ever since I don't know. I guess just with the 3DS kicking off and the likes, I think people started going back to the Wii. But I don't know.
3DS is a great console though. Like,
we were actually discussing that with previous guests.
I mean, I'm sitting there.
Yeah. So do you play the 3DS yourself?
Yeah.
Would you say you play quite a lot, or?
I do when our new release comes out. There hasn't been any particularly recently that I was interested in. I think the last game I got was the Omega Ruby,
sure,
the Pokemon version. So.
Okay, that's cool. And I don't know why I keep going. Video games is my forte. I should be concentrating on your tabletop. I apologize.
No, it's fine, man. I can talk about video games as well.
Let's try something else. What other hobbies are you into? You into anime at all?
Oh yeah.
Anime and manga?
For days.
Okay, what are you into?
Everything.
Everything.
I'll shamefully admit it's mostly the ecchi stuff. So when you're talking about High School of the Dead, I'm like, yes. bring it up more. There we
Good
go.
man.
That's the approval.
When you said the ecchi stuff, I thought it was going to be more along the lines of like 18 plus tentacles. No, okay.
Yes, everybody, just as a reminder.
That's where my mind goes. That's
Yeah,
where
Ken's only mind is anime is hentai.
For your hentai, you know when you're watching hentai.
Oh yeah.
I'm not watching hentai.
Okay. So you're in a sort of the more
Yeah.
violent theme, let's say.
Yeah.
Anime.
It's a weird thing. I just like the characters better, to be honest.
Fair.
They just tend to have better characters and stuff like that. I mean, I do like all sorts of anime. I will watch most things, but I notice, especially lately, my choices have to veered more towards all the extra stuff like that.
Good. That's the way it should be, at least. Because I'm not a fan of anime, you see. I like Dragon Ball Z. I know he's shaking his head at me. That's the extent I go. I know it's not anime, really, kind of. It meets the traits, so it has the one guy who really likes eating, he's got the old pervert. That's kind of like the traits, right? You have to have that. There's like a checklist to be anime.
Quite a few have got that cliche, but I mean, cliches exist because cliches exist.
Sure. I mean, like, same with the detective shows, have that one gritty cop, and then the one comedic
There's not
one.
too many detective. Oh, wait, I'm just talking about in general.
Yeah.
Alright, I thought you were talking about detective anime shows. I'm like,
No. I wouldn't. No, I don't watch any. I just mean like shows have the cliches, right?
Yeah.
And I think anime has that sort of guy who eats a lot, the old pervert, and not as much as far as I can think. And I also like Last Airbender.
Oh, Last Airbender is great, even though some people argue it's not, and I still really enjoy it. It's a great starter anime. Like,
that's a good point.
Anime. So like, if you have a friend who's a bit hesitant, like they've got the stigma of the anime, make them watch Airbender.
Yep.
You'll like Airbender.
So Ken, ask him real quick. Ask him what's he currently watching, as well as what is his favorite. Like, if you were to pick a favorite anime of all time so far, what he would say.
Okay. I will translate American to Scots. That's what we should pretend. That he just doesn't understand. That's what we should pretend.
That's good. There we go. Ignore those technical differences.
He said, what is your favorite anime of... that was the main gist, right? What was your favorite anime?
Well, what's his current? What's he watching right now?
What are you watching right now, first of all?
What am I watching right now? Oh, there's two particular shows that are really good, and that is Food Wars and Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?
Okay,
Nice. That's a new one. That's a new one.
No, it's...
No, that's a
Is
new
it
one.
wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Yeah.
To me, that screams monsters and dungeons, and girls are there too.
A tiny bit, but like it's not what you're thinking, but the name does suggest that.
Yes.
I like that.
And the other question is,
But no, it's essentially it's your typical adventure RPG in the form of an anime. It just also has a romance story running through it as well.
Okay.
So the name does sort of throw you off.
Fair enough.
And the other question is, what would be an anime he would consider like a favorite of all time, or like a definitive go watch that?
There's a lot of anime I really enjoy. I really enjoy High School DxD, which is your ecchi, but it also has a fantastic story, considering like all the characters are just big breasts. And
Yeah.
But the story and the lore is actually very cool, so I enjoy that. But then there's also...
Why is that always a caveat in anime? Oh, by the way, all the women are always naked. But...
Yeah. But there's also Spice and Wolf. I really enjoyed that. That's more... Oh, here we go. Yeah. It's less of a... It's not action, it's not... really ecchi. There's a bit of it, but it's not as bad. It's just basically a brilliant story.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that.
I gotta ask, when you said ecchi, I thought it was like ecchi as in like kind of weird. E-T, I don't know how to spell it. C-H-Y, ecchi sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to spell it. But you mean E-C-C-I, don't you? That's ecchi?
Ken, stop trying. Nah, I don't know what you're trying to do there, Ken.
I thought ecchi meant like...
No, it's like, well, no, you take it as kind of weird. It just means more fringe.
More?
It means more fringe, strange, right?
Oh, right.
Okay. Distant from... Okay. I didn't know that.
Okay.
I thought I meant... Okay, I don't know.
You think everything is hentai?
See it spelt with a T and then one without a T, but I just assumed they were different spellings. Maybe they do have a difference.
Okay.
Maybe I'm out myself as not a true anime fan here. I should be careful.
Nah.
Speaking of true anime fan,
Yeah.
sub or dub?
Sub. Most of the time, you've got to go with sub.
He's a hardcore.
Some of the dubs are
He's a
just
hardcore.
straight up terrible, though.
Yeah, but they're hilarious.
No.
I love seeing the subtitles as well, where the translators. And again, this is just from screen caps from like Funny Chunk and stuff, right? I don't actually watch anime, but where they're like, I don't know what WTF she's saying here. You know, just this random like 5-minute segment where they talk too fast. And, like, I don't know.
They're completely fake. I've never encountered that.
Really?
Yeah. That's either fake or you've gone to a really shit website that's just taken the
Yeah,
mic out of you.
Fair. Okay.
But you do encounter some bad translations, but you still get the gist.
Okay, that's fair. So you're a true anime fan. And you
I would say so.
It's what manga.
I'm quite into manga as well. I don't read as much as I'd like to, but that's where I'm more into the collecting. Like I don't like reading it on a computer screen. Like a lot of my friends are like, oh, I read all 40 volumes last night. And I'm like, yeah, but you read it on a computer screen. I would rather own all the volumes and read through it. And
I'm one layer worse. When there's things I can't afford, like certain comics, I go to the wiki pages and I read those. I'm like
pages too.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna call me scum. I gotta say.
No,
because
I
don't even read.
I do like to know what's going on. I'm quite bad for that. Like especially if like there's an anime and the manga's been out for a long time, and I'm like, I could just read what happens, but I never feel like I'm spoiling it for myself. I feel like I know what it's building up to, but it's the journey that's still gonna get me hyped.
Oh, totally, and the graphic as well. Like seeing the actual beautiful art is a big thing. Obviously, a major thing with comics. I did that with I think it was in Marvel, the strongest characters ever. Because I remember reading somewhere people were saying like, oh, Superman's the strongest character ever. No, Goku is. I know it's not Marvel, just in general. And so on and so forth. And I was like, in Marvel, who is the strongest character? I looked through it and there was 10 characters in this list that I found. That was like, there's this god, then that god has a god up, then there's another like super god. Then there's the god who's a reference to the writers originally, so he's technically the strongest because he can rewrite the universe, and so on and so forth. And basically, no actual hero in any comic is actually that strong. It's only the gods that are really strong, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're actually just a superhero, you actually have no power compared to, say, one of the world's devourers, you know? And that's the kind of thing you don't really read in the comics, I believe. I think that's more what you find by going through people's speculation threads.
It'll be more like events that will happen, and it's like, oh, well, Superman did this, but the Hulk did this, and from that we can infer he is stronger.
Sure, like
stuff like that. It's more.
Or Goku can blow up a planet, therefore, and Superman needs to breathe or whatever, therefore, and so on and so forth.
No, it's stuff like that. It's like if you take Superman out of the sun, oh, he's just a man. You can get him. Matter.
Yes, because Goku could destroy the sun.
He could destroy the sun. I mean, at the end of the day, you're arguing semantics or something.
I know. And then Daredevil and Batman are either down here or at the very top. And
they should. I mean,
people's argument is Batman can
just buy the win.
He just
buy off Superman.
Well, it's not just buying off. He's so smart. He's got a like plan for everything, right? So the idea is Superman can punch through his chest. But then Batman would have kryptonite for heart.
More the old Batman? I mean, the new Batman gets his spine broken and then fixed by an old man. The old Batman was all with spine fixing spray. Sprays himself from the back. I think it's more the old Batman's Jesus character. That belt has everything.
That's true. He could be like anti-Superman spray as well, yeah. I never thought of it that way.
Or just kryptonite.
Well, we'll find out in a new film, won't we? Yeah. So are you looking forward to that? No!
I'm not particularly bothered, to be honest. I mean,
really? Oh, dude, you gotta see the trailer. If you see the trailer, I think that'll change your mind. Because even if you just, like, I find with a lot of films, you gotta see them as standalone, non-canon, right? You just disconnect everything and you just think,
fair enough.
It's effectively people saying, how cool would it be? Who do you think really would win Batman vs Superman? Because it's such a huge thing online. People fight all the time, and I want to see what people actually think. Because Batman does have a plan for everything, but Superman can also just wind back time by flying around the Earth, which I know is absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
But point being, right, it'd be interesting to see what they say.
I guess, yeah, it is interesting to see how they take it.
And how many explosions are there going to be, right? Even if you just see it as a silly action flick, it's going to be cool, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that always comes down to entertaining.
But if you want to see it as canon is fitting in somehow, yeah, you're going to have a bad time.
I agree with what you're saying there. Like, I remember, I can't remember if it was from a review or something, it was like a quote about Man of Steel, and it was like, I don't know if I like Man of Steel or if I really hate buildings. And I thought that's some superhero movies there.
That's good. Okay, that's ideal. With that, Mr. Wayne, do you have any more questions?
I think that's good. I think we're good. Well, if you go wrangle up another guest, I will read an email. Give us a time to fill that there. Yes, I have an email from AgriusSW I can fill the gap with. And maybe give you a chance to try to change your splitter settings and see if we can't get someone to hear it by putting an ear in both pieces or who knows what.
We'll make this a few minutes so I can try and fix that on the fly, okay?
All that.
Alrighty. Well, with that, thank you very much for joining us. I almost just muted us there for no reason.
Mind if I throw a quick plug in
Please
here?
do, as
Absolutely.
was suggested.
So
Yes.
for the GCU Gaming Society, we have at the moment we have events we had events every Friday. Now that it's summer, we can't get events every Friday. But when the new semester starts, hopefully we'll keep to that schedule. And so if there's anyone in Glasgow, you don't need to be a student at GCU.
You have to be in Glasgow.
I mean, willing to travel down for our events, thank you.
Fair.
But I mean,
From Colorado, you're welcome to join.
Yep. Get a plane ticket over here.
Easy peasy.
You won't pay admission. You'll save £2.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who is in Glasgow or about Glasgow who enjoys gaming, we offer an environment where you can come and play games. I mean, in fact, we're actually having a 24-hour gaming marathon on the 8th of May through to the 9th of May. I think it's going to be 4 p.m. till 4 p.m.
Is that the weekend?
Yes, I believe it's Friday the 8th of May, I think. So Friday on Saturday.
Okay. Is it okay for newbies?
Oh yeah, so it's anyone who enjoys gaming, I mean, just come along. We have all kinds of things set up. We'll have tons of consoles, all the board games.
Brilliant.
Like
Cool. Well, anybody's interested, be sure to get in contact, look online and see what that is on Facebook or anything?
Yeah, GCU. I think we're GCU Gaming Society on Facebook.
Okay, just search for that and you'll find it, okay?
Yeah.
Anything else? Any Twitter? Anything like that?
No? I think we do. I think we're at GCU Gaming. I'm not. This is where I'm not sure about. I don't handle any of the media or anything like that.
You Google Fanatics out there, have a look around and you'll find
But
it.
if you look me up on Facebook, you'll find it. I mean, Joshua Garner on Facebook. You'll know my profile and Holding the Spoon.
Yeah.
That increases searchability right there.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Thank you very much for being on the show and really appreciate it. All right, let us continue on. Enjoy. We'll go into the email and I'll be right back in a few. All right.
Alrighty. So with that, we definitely want to thank you for for Ken bringing on Joshua for that piece. And I've got an email in here from AgriSSW, and if need be, I will read. Hopefully, I can get to both, but we'll see. So try to get through this quick. It says Geek Cred and a very special shout out. Greeting once again, high lords of Terra's interways. 'Tis I, AgriSSW, here once more to share my week in Geek. This week I have been playing lots of Neverwinter with Ambrosia since the new patch released, and Oathbound Paladin class, and I must say it has been a lot of fun. Ambrosia chose to be a Tiefling Scourge Warlock, and I am Agris the Human Oathbound Paladin. In 40k news, Ambrosia won 3rd place in the contest for painting a single small model, and this time there was a larger amount of entries. In pony news, Season 5 of My Little Pony is going, and I must say, really looked forward to each new episode. Also, for those of you out there who collect pony stuff, right now McDonald's is giving away My Little Pony toys. I saw that, and I haven't gotten any. I have already collected 4 of the 6 toys, and will continue my hunt for the rest this week. Finally, the most important bit of this email. This week, it is a very special one since almost 5 years ago I stopped writing into this show, and I'm giving a shout out to my, quote, lady friend, and began giving shout outs to my loving girlfriend Ambrosia Hartnett. That's right, this week Ambrosia and I will be celebrating 5 years of being a loving couple. Oh my, how the time flies. Happy anniversary, Ambrosia. And thank you for so many wonderful memories, and I plan to continue to make many more with you. Thank you again, good sirs, for the great show, and keep up the epic work. P.S. Mr. Wayne, have you been keeping up with the new season? No, I haven't. Sorry, I have just not been there yet to watch it, but I will get back to it. That coming to us from AgriSSW Level 100 Human Paladin Guild Civil Warcraft, Shattered Hand US, the Paladin of Ambrosia Hartnett for the past 1,826 days. That's right, 5 years and counting. Thank you very much for that, Agri-S. We love hearing and reading all of your mails, so very much appreciated. And with that, I don't see the new one sent from Cupcheck. Where is it? It hasn't come through. Well, we'll see if perhaps Ken has got things sorted on his end so we can hear, and if our new guest can hear me this time for a change. It looks, yes. I see nods of affirmation, so I'm going to go with that. So with that, let us have our introductions, Ken, and we will continue our Geek Retreat discussion.
Well, we have another guest here, and again, would you introduce yourself?
I'm Peter Duffy.
Nice to meet you, Peter.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Basically, I love comics, sci-fi, films, TV, whatever, just anything really imaginative.
So you're quite a general geek, you'd say?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, quite general. I enjoy video games. I haven't been able to like keep up with a lot of like the more recent stuff. Like
Sure.
I got halfway through where PS3 got to, and then kind of dropped off from lack of funds.
He was a console gamer and dropped that. Oh, don't know if that's a good thing.
Well, I've still PlayStation 1 and 2. I still play them.
Okay, so you're almost a retro gamer then, you say?
Pretty much. Just certain games I got and I like, so I play them again.
Hey, that's totally fair. If they do what you enjoy, of course. Would you call yourself a PC gamer at all?
Not really. I've played a few. Like I used to play the Civilization.
Oh, Civ games, nice.
I played them for a bit, and then I got kind of close to addicted to Civilization 3. To the point where I realised I was spending too much time with it, and actually smashed the disc with a hammer just to solidify. No, I will not do that again.
That was a big system.
It was a symbolic act to say that part of my life is done.
Well, if you don't get Civ 5, because man, it is an improvement, and you will probably never see daylight again if you're that addicted to these kind of games.
Yeah.
Brilliant game, by the way. So our description of you here says that you are happy to be on the air. Your topics include computer games, tabletop games, TV, film, comics, literature, and pop culture and current events. So the literature thrown in there makes me think that you are a student here, and is that true?
I used to be a student, yeah.
Okay.
I like pretty much anything, you know.
Okay.
So there are books I've read and I like them.
Cool.
So I put them in. I've read comics, I like them. So I put that in.
That's fair.
I talk about anything.
So with that though, as you talk about like that you are into books and comics and everything, are there certain genres of books that you lean towards versus other?
Yeah, there are. I tend to veer towards things like I'm a massive superhero fan, obviously, and I like so is that the camera there? I like science fiction and stuff like that. But quite a lot. Like if I find an author I like, I'll follow them. You know, they're like I read one like Neil Gaiman book. I thought that was great.
Oh,
so
nice choice.
I read 6 more Neil Gaiman books because I knew that was a mark of quality. So I will follow genres, but I'll also just follow any particular creator that I think they're good.
Nice. I know Wayne's a big fan of Neil Gaiman.
Oh yeah,
smashing.
I've read all the Sandman comics except for I haven't picked up the latest of the new series they did, the prequel ones.
Oh right,
and I've read. Yeah, I've got the first like 3 or 4 in the collector versions of them, but I haven't. I avoid comic book stores because I buy all the comics, and so. I'm fearful that I need to go in and pick up the rest of that series, and because I'm fearful that I will walk out with that, and all the Harlequins I haven't been reading, and all of like the newer Spider-Mans, and so I'm trying to avoid it. But at the same time, God, I need to get the rest of those because I'm fortunate. One of the things I have here in Denver is we have one of the biggest comic book stores in existence, Mile High Comics, which if you don't know, it's I don't know how many 1,000 square foot warehouse it's in. It's essentially like a 60,000 square foot warehouse dedicated to nothing but comic books.
It's dedicated to what, sorry?
Nothing but comic books and geekery. It's everything. Anyhow, so I avoid, but yes, Neil Gaiman is one of my I love that man's writing. All the books, his movies, yes.
Oh, very nice. So you're in a literature. What other literature are you into? You say it's mainly sort of fantasy, comic based, or are you into some?
Yeah, I've been reading a few old science fiction recently, like Man Who Fell to the Earth. That was pretty interesting.
Okay.
And a couple, just like someone recommends a book, so I give it a read.
Okay, so you read a lot then?
I noticed that I hadn't read a lot of classic books. Everyone says, "Oh, you should read that." So I've started moving towards reading them just because I realised that gap.
I think everybody has that sort of like little library in their mind. They're like I've never read Moby Dick, and that to me that is something that everybody needs to read. Like in America, to be fair, it's a class thing, right?
Yeah, it's something that we read in class going up through our grade school. So it's like you never have to.
We have, we have like To Kill a Mockingbird's quite big. I don't know. Gatsby's pretty big as well.
Shakespeare, you're going to read 2 or 3 Shakespeare's in English.
Rabbie Burns, some Scottish poetry. That's the kind of stuff we do here. I've never read Moby Dick, and I feel like it's such an essential part of reading because you see it on TV all the time. American culture, people saying it's a classic, and there's a lot of amazing American literature that I'd like to read that I've missed out on. even the old what's his name, Mark Twain stuff. I've never read any Mark Twain.
Really?
Yeah. I've
Well,
never touched Mark
so with that though, so Peter, you're talking about going back and investigating some of these old novels and old literature. What's something that you're reading now, or you're looking to do next?
I'm about to actually read Valis, which is by Philip K. Dick, the guy who did the Blade Runners for his stuff. So one of my cousins said, "Oh, I read that; it was fantastic." So that's the next thing I'm going to go read.
Do we have any book recommendations for him? I suddenly have an urge to tell because.
Oh gosh, there are so many good ones. That's a challenge, and it depends on what you're into, right? Because for me, like, I just finished reading Starship Troopers, the actual book of it, because I love the show. I love the movie from it. Right, the first movie I thought was so great, and I've heard many stories about how good it was. I loved it. You know, it's one of those things. If I'm telling people, if you haven't read like classics like Ender's Game, you must go read Ender's Game. If you haven't read
classic,
if you haven't read a modern,
I'll order that tonight.
I said no, because Ender's Game is one of those that. And you can't talk about it because it's one of those ones that came out long ago, and people know that there's kind of some twists and things in it, and so people reference the book.
The film came out last year, actually, Ender's Game.
Read the book.
It wasn't too big a hit. It did well, but it wasn't a big hit.
It was still okay, but read the book.
Yeah, but the book is just, oh my god, blow your mind. It's honestly probably my favorite sci-fi book I've ever read.
And it's
along with The Player of Games, by the way.
Well, it's like 200 pages. It's such a quick, easy read. Yeah. And so it's go get that. And then like for modern, what I think are classics for gamers, and now granted, I'm older than all of you in that room, but it's one where I say, please go read that. You say that, please, Ken.
Yeah, you are.
Is to say, I also tell people to go read Ready Player One. Because that's a new modern, for me, classic, because it talks about old school gaming, kind of how gaming came up through the 80s, and is really relevant to the way technology is going today. And so, like, to me, those are two of my big recommendations, depending on what people have already read.
That makes sense. Okay. So if you are interested, that's what we would recommend.
All right, I'll look at it then tonight.
Sure. I like spreading the geek around. Spread it around. All right. How about you? Do you have any suggestions for anybody listening out there?
Ooh. Well, it depends. I mean, obviously, I've already mentioned stuff like Neil Gaiman. I read a Terry Pratchett book recently. That was decent.
Oh, I'm a big fan of Pratchett, and very sad to hear that he passed. What was last month now? Yeah.
Yeah. Just something different. Just go out and read something you've never tried before.
Some good advice.
Yeah.
That's quite wise. For example, I know I've went out and bought some books that I just feel like everybody should read. Like, I don't want to get too into this topic here, but personally I'm not religious, but I think the religious texts are very interesting. So I've got a copy of the Quran, I've got a copy of the Bible, because I plan to read through them all, because I think it's very interesting, if nothing else. Just because in the books that impact so many people's lives, and so I think everybody should read these kind of books, even if you're personally not religious yourself.
Yeah, my brother went and did that a while ago. He went and bought a Bible, a Quran, like Norse mythology, just all the religious stuff, and just read through them all. And it's a good idea just to get on just the culture.
I think it's good to be able to empathise with your fellow man, because no matter where you go, then you could go on and say, I know what you're about, kind of. I've got a glimpse into your life, and I think we can communicate on a different level now.
Yeah, the fact is, these books have had more impact on just society as a whole than any other, so it's good to have an idea of what exactly is in there.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, one other I'd also recommend, contrary to the current topic, is Origin of Species. I've actually read through Mr. Darwin's book, and I did that last year for the first time. It's a bit of a read, I gotta say. It's kind of tough to get through, but
it's more written as a scientific.
Yeah, it's like a very loose scientific. I wouldn't say loose, but it's for your everyday reader, scientific text. So it's something you definitely would want to read if you haven't already as well. It's very interesting in a way. Okay, let's move on away from literature. We've touched on comics a little bit as well. What other comics would you recommend? What have you been reading?
Lots of stuff. I've generally been a DC fan. I haven't been enjoying a lot of their recent stuff, but I've enjoyed. I love the DC characters because they tend to be more mythic. They're big archetypes. Superman is he's the big the ultimate human. He's the pinnacle that you'd aim for, or Batman, who is this. It's such a symbolic, iconic character. It's determination. Just DC characters I find tend to be more representative of these big archetypes. So that's who I've tended towards in the past. Although the recent stories haven't been much to my taste.
So
But,
with that, like, yeah, the New 52, what's your thought on that as a whole?
I didn't enjoy it at all. I nearly broke my soul.
Oh, see, I was curious because they're doing this whole reimagining of all these classic characters, kind of trying to revigorate the storyline from DC's perspective. Because for me, I do appreciate Harlequin. I like what they've done with her and giving her own storyline. But one of the things that I have a challenge with, and I'm just curious your own opinion, is I hate that Constantine is now a DC character versus Vertigo.
I always enjoyed the fact that he was in that world and could, on occasion, interact with them. I think the problem is more that the character himself has changed. You know, he's no longer that, you know, out for himself arsehole guy. You know? He saves the world not because I've got to save the world, but I live there. You know,
exactly.
It was just, you know, he's become more of, you know, a hero rather than just a guy going through his life, you know, trying not to die.
Yeah, a guy that just happened to have sold his soul to the devil and is doing everything he can to keep it away from him.
Yeah, it's just it's something that's happened a lot in the New 52. It is homogenising the characters. You know, it's making them all that one specific type. Oh, they're all young, gritty guys. You know, they're all sad, all depressed. All you know, I want to see a thousand different types of story. You know, I don't want them. I love the idea of taking a character and trying something radically different. But if you're trying the same thing with all the characters, it defeats the point.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
you've got really good insight into that sort of culture.
The
That's
U-52
interesting.
generally disappointed me. But one comic that happened recently, the DC, is Multiversity, which is insanely brilliant. It's basically all the different, it's the whole 50 different universes that make up DC.
Are there literally 50, by the way?
52 to be exact.
Wow.
And they're all being attacked by these big Koreans outside creation.
That's
And
cool.
all the different universes are having to team up to fight them. And they communicate by reading comic books that contain each other's worlds.
Oh, that is so meta.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is.
It's fantastic, and that's how they figure out what's going on. You know, the Nazi Superman's reading a comic about, the Bugs Bunny Superman, who's reading a comic about, Captain Marvel, as in, Billy Bats and Shazam, Captain Marvel, the proper one.
Sure.
And they're reading, and that's how they get that information about, they just got destroyed by something in this comic, and now something similar's happening here. And it's about the variety of different worlds out there. It's about examining all these.
So, is there any one of them that are like just pure evil or refuse to interact? Like, is there just a Nazi universe that's just like, no, I refuse to talk to anybody else, we are assholes? Or is there like, I don't know, universe made of entirely jelly babies? Where
It's that kind of thing. It's like there's the anti-matter universe where it's the Justice League are just evil, or there's the Nazi universe where like Superman's rocket crashed and occupied Nazi land in 1939, and so he was brainwashed by Hitler and he winning the war. But now it's 100 years later, and he's guilt-ridden over what he's supposed to become because he's responsible for the Nazis taking over the world, and he doesn't know how he's doing that. And then Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters are essentially terrorists trying to fight the regime, and he doesn't know whose side should I fight on? Should I help these people, who are fighting for good things, but they're technically terrorists?
Sure.
Or do I help the regime because that's
helping the government and effectively keeping order and therefore less death, therefore possibly a greater good in theory.
So it's about the variety of different stories you can tell.
So are these different universes? Do they actually exist in different comics?
Well, that's the thing.
I don't mean inside the borders, right? I mean like in real life.
Yeah.
Do these comics exist? Like, is there a Nazi Superman?
There isn't, but that's the thing. There should be. It's like 8 issues of just here's on this world, and every one of these worlds, you're like, yes, I want to read this series.
That's cool.
At the moment, it's like there's just Earth 0 and like Earth 2.
Sure.
DC are only actually publishing about like 2 or 3 universes.
Understand, like, they're very complex if you start interacting as well.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's, these could easily be, you could run 100 issues off any one of these concepts, and it's the Multiversity series. It's like 8 issues. It finishes next month, I think, or this month. I'm not sure. And then, but it's a blueprint for how to do comics. It's just.
Must be so many plot holes.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's so good because each issue is just set in that universe, and it's just that one universe's, struggle just with stuff going on there. But you see the links to, similar things going on, and it's
who are these external bad guys coming into the universe?
It's called the Gentry, and it's
a cool name.
Yeah, it's.
And they're just lots of guys with monocles and top hats.
No, like one of them is like a giant big cyclops egg with giant bat wings. What? Yeah, and one of them's like a big house, like broken doll's house full of 100 eyes, and it's just yeah, they're just weird.
So it's kind of almost
they seem to be metaphors for like bad creators or like bad comic readers. Like one of them's called like intellectual, and it's like people who dig everything apart and are always looking for plot holes or looking for oh no, that wouldn't technically work. People who are missing the point. Like there's a brilliant quote, I can't remember, it's from the Captain Marvel one, where it's like you're looking into it too much and you're ruining the magic. Sure. And it is about just at some degrees you should just enjoy the story. It's well, how would that work if it was actually a real world? Well, it's not a real world. It's about magic, people. It's not real. That's not important. What's important is the story, what they represent.
Yeah, but excuse me, he used a gravity punch, and if he used a gravity punch, then gravity around him and the walls would have fallen and killed the woman he was trying to save. So actually,
right there, you are one of the Gentry, and you are, without knowing it, you're killing superheroes. And it's for that reason that it's a really creepy book. And there's this one issue, the recent one, Ultra Comics, which is mental. It's a haunted comic. Like you are the target. It's a comic where there's an evil idea that's using this comic to try and infect your actual mind.
That's cool.
And that's
double meta. Double meta.
Just multiversity, go buy it. It's insane.
That sounds good. I think I might actually look into that. You think you've actually convinced me to read a comic, and I'm not a comic reader. So well done.
Yeah, well that's the thing is each issue is its own. Any one of the multiversities, you could read it as that's its own story in its own universe. You don't need to know anything else.
That's brilliant.
Or they can fit together into this insane.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So very good job. Yeah.
That's why I love comics.
That is a great synopsis of that world, because honestly I'm more a Marvel fan, but the way you've talked about it, it intrigues me that they're going to that depth to start talking about the universe as a whole.
So the thing is, that's like, I love that, and everything else DC are currently doing breaks my heart. It's like they've got like 3 good stories and then 20 ones that are, oh no, don't do that.
So with that though, do you like Arrow and Flash? The television shows.
I haven't watched. I've watched one episode of Arrow. I've watched a lot of Flash, and I despise it entirely. Worst program ever. I have to say it is. Everything about it insults me. The ideas, the concepts, the directing, the writing, the acting, it all offends me.
I had to ask because
if you have time, I will spend an hour telling you why the Flash is wrong.
Well, we may have to do that another time, because unfortunately we are running into the end of our show for today. It's amazing how quick it goes when you're having so much fun. But with that, I have to pass on the love from the IRC. Our fans who are interacting with us live during the show love all of the guests we've had on today and want to have them all on again. They've loved your stories, you've done a brilliant job, and they love the insight into everyone that's gathered together in the Geek Retreat. So I want to thank everyone for being a participant and a guest on the show today. I unfortunately have to leave it then to you, Ken, to help us wrap things up, to thank Peter for being on with us and everyone else, and to give us all our outs as we get ready for the casuals to have their time on Alpha Geek Radio. So Ken, could you do us the honor?
10 words or less. Do you have any plugs?
Sorry?
Do you have any plugs? Do you want to Twitter, Facebook, anything like that you want to give a shout out to?
Geek Retreat's great.
Check out Geek Retreat. Okay, there we go. You have been listening to ShowX on VTWBrushins.com. Check us out on twitter.com/VTWShowX, twitter.com/GoX, twitter.com/DogDen. You'll find us there. Check us out on Facebook. Don't go to type in ShowX at the top and you will find us that simply. Check out all the shows on VTWBrushins.com. And finally, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/ShowX. We appreciate it. Thanks for having us on the show, Mr. Wayne. And a very special thanks to Geek Retreat for having us host us and have all the brilliant guests on today. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ken, for getting everything set up out there. It was a good time. With that, everyone, you've been listening to Show X on VTWProductions.com. We look forward to seeing you all again next week. Check out all of our shows and check out everything on our co-shows, Network, Alpha Geek Radio. Those guys are brilliant. So catch you all again next week. We've had a good time. Bye.
Goodbye. See you next zombie.